The fan of state.
And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Great to be back. Yes, I know. Sounds terrible, doesn't it, Alonzo?
Well,
awful start to the show.
I have the same problem. I took sinus medicine last night, was asleep by 9 o'clock, unfortunately. So I definitely get it.
You missed your boy Justin Fields popping off then.
I know I did. I saw that this morning. It's, the head was killing me and the sinuses going nuts. And it's like, you know what? Migraine medicine ain't working. Let's try this. And this made me fall asleep with a Xbox controller in my hand.
It happens to the best of us, buddy.
It does. So I feel for you, but you're going to suck it up, Buttercup. That's what you're going to do. And we're going to have an awesome show.
I'm here. Champs rise to the occasion. We play like champions around here. We show up hurt. We show up hurt.
Wait a minute.
To work.
You've got sick days and you're not using them?
Well, turns out when you like your job,
I agree.
I play hurt. It's all right. We're good. We're fine. We're going to get through it. How the heck is everybody? Happy Tuesday. Great to be with you. I am Rob Brown. On the other side of the glass is the great one himself, Lonzo, in charge of the show. Booked up show today. A lot of stuff to get into, a lot of stuff to talk about on the broadcast, including how about the Chi-Town Bears last night? And, there are some games where you get a game like that, and it's fair to ask the question. In fact, I even said Carolina's win over Tampa, I think it's every bit as fair to ask the question, what's wrong with Tampa, as I do think it's fair to ask the question, what went right for Carolina, right? Like a lot went right for Carolina, but it's absolutely fair to ask the question, what in the world is going wrong with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now? And there's a lot going wrong with Tampa, no doubt about it. Last night, however, I don't think it is fair to ask what's wrong with New England. I think you got to talk about what the Bears did last night, right? I mean, you rack up, what they do on the ground, 243 rushing yards last night. 243. And by the way, leading rusher for the Bears, 14 carries, 82 yards of rushing for Justin Fields. He also had a $179 on 13 of 21. It was a good enough passing day, but Justin Fields was just a monster with the legs last night. Punched to win in on the ground as well. They got 62 from Montgomery, 62 from Herbert, 29 from Pettis. On the flip side, Bailey Zappi. Look, man, Mac Jones got sat for Bailey Zappi. Zappi went 14 of 22 for 185, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. They turned back to the Mac. Return of the Mac last night. And he was kind of in that same area, 3 of 6, 13 yards and 1 pick on the night. The dynasty, I'm not going to say that Hoodie's dynasty is over, right? But it certainly looks that way.
So the Mac Jones thing that I sent you early this morning, did you see that? Did that really happen? Because Al?
Because Al.
So Mac Jones is sliding and puts a foot into the midsection of a Chicago guy. That looks real to me.
That did appear to happen.
And that was a slide. That was a scrape. That wasn't a kick. That looks like that would hurt worse.
I've got on my left shin, Lonzo, I've got a scar. And that scar came from when I was a Ute. I had a cleat while I was playing baseball, sliding into second on a stolen bag because Rob Brown had speed, y'all. sliding into second on a stolen bag. I had a shortstop coming over to make the tag, and he stepped past the bag and he drove one of his spikes through the skin on my leg. Right? I got a scar on the left shin from that. Getting raked by a cleat is no joke. But if I was gonna get raked by a cleat, I think I'd rather it pop through my shin than have what happened with Mac on the slide last night.
So you may have got benched. Is that why he got benched? That's because I'm sorry I didn't watch it, but is that why? I mean,
I meant to pull the audio.
Maybe Belichick was like, listen, you can't do that to another guy. You're on the bench.
Yeah. In fact, you know what? I will throw that up on the stream. If you're not watching the stream, facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, or search and subscribe to the Rob Brown Show on YouTube or on Twitch. I've got the video from the Manning cast. There is absolutely a chance that Mac just lost control during the slide.
No. This is absolutely premeditated. There's foot extended. There is scraping going on afterwards. No, he meant to do this.
So if you've never played baseball before, you get a lot of speed going in a slide, and you realize that you went to the butt a little too hard. You can lose that balance and kind of fall backwards. But I don't think I've ever seen a dude raise his foot to groin level on a lost control slide like that. But the right foot comes up. It certainly does look like he's doing a hamstring.
By the way, you never
stretch.
actually added it to the stream. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but
it's showing on my side as showing.
It's not up there. No.
Cool. Well,
now it is.
I've been watching the replay by myself. It does certainly look like he's doing a hamstring extension stretch.
Watch this right
the
here.
right foot goes up. The leg goes full extension.
What size cleats we got going there? I mean, are those quarter inch, you think? I mean, because that matters too, the depth of the cleat.
100%.
Yeah, because
you
got your short cleat, it's probably not going to be as bad.
You get a pretty good view of it right there, right? If you go full screen on the computer, you get a pretty good view of the spike. It doesn't look like they're like the biggest spikes in the world, but I promise you, I don't want this.
All right, where you
moved
it. I was going to say where it stopped. You can see his eyes, and his eyes are looking right where he's kicking. I'm just saying it's premeditated. He did this on purpose.
The Patriot way, ladies and gentlemen.
See his eyes? I mean, he is directing his foot where he wants his foot to go.
We are doing some CSI Foxborough work right now to figure this out. I can't tell in this if his eyes are closed or if he's like squinting just to get a really good focus on his target.
With the slide.
All I can say, Lonzo, is of all of the dirty plays that I've seen throughout the NFL, man, this one's nuts.
This is definitely the Patriot way, so I'm not surprised. And I heard what you did there.
Here, Mac Jones with the slide.
Watch
this right here. Look here, Mac Jones with the slide.
I can't stop watching it.
All right, we probably should bring it off the stream before we get flagged.
Watch this right here.
Yeah, Kevin, he probably would, but if at the end of the video, you see he's laying there for a while. Maybe you do that later.
Kevin said, kick his ass.
Yeah, but you know what? You can't do it if he gets benched. I don't know how soon after he got benched, but, maybe he got benched just to save his life.
So, first off, I think we very much all need I think we should all be wondering about the health and safety of Brisker here. The second question is, did he lose a groin on that play? We know you can lose a groin courtesy of Dr. Reitzel. And I'm curious as if he was able to keep his groin intact after that.
Because scraping was involved, there's a very, very good shot that the groin was ejected from where it was supposed to be. And there's a good shot that maybe not only did he lose the groin, it might have been mangled and needed to be recovered by medical staff.
My chair's broke.
Once you surprise. Once you lose a groin, I'm not sure that they can reattach. But
Yeah,
I mean, it's a possibility.
Well, I mean,
if you can find it.
They got to put it on ice first.
The whole point of lose means it's gone and you don't know where it is. It could be on the bottom of Mac Jones's foot, though. It might possibly be there.
What was that, man?
I'm telling you, that's intentional. How could that not be intentional?
I gotta think you're right, dude. Like, I gotta think you're right. You know, earlier, or was it last week? Last week we got into a conversation about the Jordan Poole, Draymond Green situation. And Lonzo and I disagreed with the premise of where that fight starts, right? Like, to me, the fight started when Draymond went nose to nose with Jordan Poole, right? Like a lot of people are going to walk away when dude goes nose to nose, but you also got to understand, if you go nose to nose with another dude, you might get slugged in the face for it. You got to know that's a real possibility in that situation. So I don't suspect we're going to be having much of a disagreement about where this fight started had it turned into something.
Yeah.
At the moment that Mac Jones put a heat seeker on his spikes, aiming for that dude's junk.
Something about that. It just makes me think that direct contact would have been less painful, and he may not have had any fight in him the rest of the night. So there may have been no retribution, even if he could get it, because he's just probably like, leave me alone. I just want to sit over here by myself.
I don't know, man. Like, my thought would be initially.
And how do you console someone like, oh man, I hope you feel better.
I hope you already had kids.
You're wearing your cup today, right?
Yeah. Did you ever have a baseball coach that did the cup check?
No, but we did have a football move called the cup check.
I had a baseball coach who did the cup check. Like, our cups were not optional. You were wearing one every day. And every now and then the coach would walk by and he'd just like take his hat off, or he'd have a glove on, and and in retrospect,
I did have friends who would do the cup check. I hated them.
Yeah. But
which was a back fist into your groin.
Those are your friends. In retrospect, like looking at it through a 2022 lens, and I'm just having this realization in the moment, and looking at it through a 2022 lens, a full-grown man walking around tapping the parts of high schoolers to make sure they're wearing a cup is probably not the right way to handle that.
Yeah, I'm guessing that probably doesn't happen anymore. It should have been frowned upon back then, but apparently it was not.
I think it's one of those things that it's like, we looked at it at the time, and in fairness, it was funny to the boys, right? Because if one of the boys did not come out in his fully mandated equipment, emphasis on the man, and coach racked him with a baseball glove, right? Or a hat, got the cup check in, and dude went to the ground in pain, it was comedy at its finest, right? Like, it was a Chris Farley movie, and we were all there for it. And now, as a coming up on 38-year-old man, I'm like, dude, I don't think that was okay. I don't think that was an okay way to do that, right? I don't know if there is an okay way to do that, shy of going, hey, do you have your protective equipment on? And just hoping that dude was honest.
So Kevin says he should be fined for that. How would that be worded? How would that fine be worded as far as what he's being fined for?
I'm gonna go. You know what the penalty should have been? 15 yards, personal foul. Can't do that, Mac. You can't do that, Mac.
I'd have been okay if the ref threw an extra flag and said, "Man, come on, come on, that's 30. I'm flagging you twice for that."
Keegan said to come back after a cleat to the boys and intercept him was probably the best retaliation he could have had. That is correct. That is correct.
All the high school stuff's coming out now on the stream, so that's all right.
Kevin, I can't read that one. I want you to know that I think we've all had that friend. We've all had the what's the capital of Thailand friend. Geography quiz. What's the capital of Thailand? You know that joke. It's happened to all of us. And if you got terrible friends, it might happen again.
You know, it sounded familiar until you actually hit the microphone. Then it was very familiar.
Uh-huh. Hated the geography quiz. Anyway, Texter says, fan, insanity charge for going nuts. That's it. That's the correct enter. That's the correct answer. The correct enter, which is an answer of
stop.
Correction. I was going with that's the winner, and then I combined it with that's the correct answer.
Please stop.
But he might be that now.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to get through this show. We're good.
I don't know. I may have to rein on this whole thing pretty soon because it's heading in a direction that's probably not a good
Lonzo's
idea.
glancing over his shoulder at that little yellow button up in the corner.
It's my fault, but still, I just,
I didn't say anything near worthy of a dump.
I saw it this morning and was like, okay, I missed that. Wow. While I was sleeping, this happened.
It did. It did.
In all seriousness, you think he gets fined for that? Or does he get by with it because he's a quarterback?
I don't know. I don't know how you find it, right? I think Matt can say, look, I went for a slide. I lost control of the slide. My foot got up and away from me. But there was another play shortly after that got people a little bit upset where, man, in fact, I'll put this one up too. There was a second play that people got a little bit upset because Mac went for another slide. He had a safety coming over the top.
Well, tell me there's an elbow drop involved.
No, but there might have been. Watch the end of this slide.
And it opens up.
Coming in from the right is number 9, the safety. And watch Mac's foot, right? He drags the right foot, sticks the left foot out, and watch his right foot. He kind of slings it around and back, almost like he's trying to spike.
Isn't that the same guy?
I believe that it is.
I think it's the same guy. We got some heat going on here. This is intentional.
Yeah, this one I think is probably a little less obvious. But when you combine it with the first one, I got no problem with people calling Mac Jones a dirty player here. Like, there's no reason in this slide for that right foot to hinge backwards as far as it does. It definitely looks like he's trying to catch him in the legs with the spike. He misses, but it looks like he's trying to catch him in the legs. And Brisker has to basically pull up. I mean, he's got to pull up anyway because Mac's sliding, but he's got to even kind of hold his legs back because Mac's right foot kind of swings back towards him.
If Tom Brady were still playing there, number 9 would have gotten penalized twice. For roughing the passer.
Oh, man. So anyway, that's interesting. But
Chicago won and Mac Jones got benched. But he went out like a champ, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that. That's a real bad look for Mac Jones and the Patriots.
All right, do you not like show up in the tunnel afterwards? You know where I mean, you know, and just confront him about him doing that.
I mean, what do you say, right?
Whatever it is, it'll be high pitched.
Hey, Mac, man, you need to have a conversation, Mac.
Don't do it. You'll hit a coughing fit and you'll be laying on the floor.
He's going to write him a strongly worded letter and send it to Mac asking for apology. It'll be junk mail. Yes. Nailed it.
Yes, that one got the face palm.
Nailed it. Man, I'm good at this. All right.
It took you 19 minutes, but you got there.
Way to go. I was spinning that one around for a second. Like, I got something here. I just need to figure out how to put it together. And I did. Hosting a show and coming up with that pun on the fly.
While sick.
That's why I win and sick.
Yeah, there you go.
That's why we win trophies around here, ladies. Man, I sound like crap. I am so sorry.
You sound like Peter Brady going through puberty, and I'm finding it awesome. And if you get that reference, you're old like me.
All right, let's take a break. My name is Rob Brown. Marsha. That's the great one, Lonzo, over there. When we come back here in just a minute, heard something on a pod yesterday that I wanted to get to. And it's interesting as somebody who absolutely has aspirations of being a national broadcaster. I heard this pod and I was like, not a great look. Talking about Clemson football. We'll talk about that. Then, coming up in the next hour, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to once again help steer the ship and talk a little bit about the direction that you like your sports radio. You guys know I like to ask you, what do you like your radio to sound like? What do you like your radio to sound like? I've got another question for you. And we'll get that coming out of the gate. Faces and Heels coming up at 11:20. It's a busy day on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. All right, I got to get my daggone cough drops.
Admittedly, I hijacked the show a little bit there, but it had to be discussed. Because that's just wrong. You don't do that to another date.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Rob Brown. Listen, are you holding back from buying a home right now because you are worried that maybe your home won't sell, or maybe your home will sell too quickly, or maybe you won't find the home that you are looking for at a fair price because today's market moves fast? Here's the reality. Allen Tate makes it easy. From the start of the process to the finish, they will help you find
one for one.
They will help you get the financing you're looking for. They will help you insure. They will help you sell your home.
I'm sure you'll get some of that later.
Well played, James. Well played.
And now they are ready to help you as well. So whether you were looking to buy, whether you're looking to sell, wherever you are along the home ownership process, Allen Tate is in your corner. Reach out to them right now online at allentate.com. allentate.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack. See why
Cannot get into the stinking chapters. Won't let me. What does undefined mean? I was trying to think of a clever title to put in the chapter, and I just can't get in there.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper, and you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online.
Make it work, Rob.
Trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at
Huh.
90% off. That's right.
Well.
Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this.
I don't know, Luke. That's an up and up program there in New England. They would never do anything underhanded. Ever. No cheating there. Pride of the league.
My Affordable Braces has been offering braces starting at $39.95 for years. New technology means fewer visits. Save even more with insurance plans like
Will the groin slide get played more than the butt fumble? Probably not. But you never know.
I doubt it, but it's going to get a lot of play.
Dell Technologies provide growing businesses with the tools to do incredible things because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. I don't know. Bounty Gate doesn't work, Keegan. It's got to be something else. There's got to be a better name there. There we go. There we go. You nailed it.
Listen,
Excellent work, Steven.
this show should not be 3 hours of Matt Jones' dirty slide. I said it shouldn't be, not that it won't. It should not be 3 hours of only talking about Matt Jones heat-seekering onto dude's groin, but it might be.
It's right inside of what we only talk about. It's the NFL, so
Wow.
we can talk about it for 3 hours because that's all we do here.
It's
apparently.
in the wheelhouse, man.
Yeah.
It's in the wheelhouse. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. He is the great one, Lonzo. I was yesterday afternoon. I'll get out of here. Lonzo and I cut the Views from Midstream podcast. Newest episode available now wherever major podcasts are found. We talk a little bit about Sunday's game, but more importantly, we talk about where the direction of this team is now that they got that win over Tampa Bay. Make sure you download and subscribe to the Views from Midstream podcast. Got done with the pod. Had a couple of other spots I needed to write, some scripts I needed to put down, had some research to do into Gaffney High to start getting ready for Friday night's game against Burns, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, yeah. One of your other jobs.
Yeah.
One of your 25 other jobs.
Yep. Also got a Rabbits game on Saturday to work. Got a Triumph game on Saturday to be plugged into. Busy week, and that's great. So I don't know about you, Zo. I'm a background noise guy, right? Like I can't work in silence. In the fortress of nerditude.
I was to say, that to be true.
That's true.
If it's quiet in there, I comment about it's too quiet in here.
Zoe and I in the fortress of nerditude, there's always noise going on. I'm either watching wrestling or replays of games. Zoe's always got his music bumping. Like there's always noise. I got to have background noise. So yesterday, I'm sitting at the home office. I got the laptop plugged in, and I get a notification that the Sports Illustrated College Football Podcast dropped. 40, Wenzel, and Dellinger. So I push play, and I'm listening through it. And a few minutes into this pod, they go into a full-length, very investigatory conversation about the quarterback controversy now taking place at Clemson. I'm like, yeah, no, there's not one.
So there are actual Clemson fans there on this podcast because that sounds like what a Clemson fan would say.
You know what's really interesting? The only people even the folks who have hit us with DJ should transfer. Why are we playing DJ? Why are we not turning the program over to Cade Klubnik, etc.? Even those cats, for the most part, with a couple of rare exceptions, for the most part, all seem to be still on the fact that, hey, DJ's done well. There was an injury. Guy shouldn't lose his job, right? It's not like if Cade would have come in and gone 16 of 18 for 200 and a few touches, then maybe you have that discussion, but he didn't, and so you don't. But I'm listening to this pod, and by the way, I like these guys. Wenzel, 40, and Dellinger. I think they do a good pod. I think it's interesting. I think it's entertaining for the most part. You know, they're kind of loosey-goosey and fun. But I'm listening to it. By the way, that smacking noise, I'm trying to do the best I can to limit it, but that's a cough drop because otherwise I might not make it through this.
Yeah, he's actually trying really hard because it was really bad during the break. And I just didn't want to say anything because I know you're suffering, but that's one of the worst sounds in the history of mankind.
I'm doing my best to limit it.
The only thing is worse than that is a fork against your teeth.
So they're talking about the QB controversy at Clemson. You know, when I listen to sports talk radio, as another host, I don't get involved, right? Like I don't get involved. I don't call Mark's show. I don't call other shows. I don't go on to pods unless I'm invited, right? Because for the most part, folks in this industry, you got to work really, really hard to get success in this industry. You got to go through a lot of crap to find success in this industry. So when guys get to a spot where they have accomplished enough that they've got a pod audience or that a radio station has hired them to run a show, you know, I don't want to go on there and take away from that because I think we've all been there. We all know how tough it is. I might be trying to get an invite on that pod, right? I might be trying to get on that pod because I listened to that conversation. I'm like, guys, no, what are you talking about, right? And they did point out that Cade threw 4 passes and completed 2 of them. But I'm like,
but he handed the ball off so well. No one can hand a ball off like Cade Klubnik.
Yeah.
No one can.
I'm listening to it. I'm like, guys, like you are making your own argument as to why you have no argument, right? They're like, oh, it's a quarterback controversy. DJ wasn't that good. They went to Cade and they won the game. I mean, he only threw 4 passes. He was a handoff machine, but he won the game. And I'm like, yeah, but like, did he though? Like, did he win the game? Or did Will Shipley win the game? And Phil Maffa win the game? Certainly felt like Ship and Moff won the game, not Cade Klubnik. And I'm not taking a shot at Cade Klubnik. I don't know how good the guy can be, right? I don't know how good the guy can be. But to say that there's a quarterback controversy is crazy. And it's wrong. There's not. DJ Uiagalelei led you to a 6-0 record. DJ Uiagalelei tried to gut out the game on Saturday with a jacked up hand, missing a chunk of meat out of it, right? There's no controversy here. He has played more than good enough to justify hanging on to that position as starting QB. That's not a question. That's a statement. I love that immediately after the game. You know, again, I have many times said that, in my opinion, the best thing about Dabo Swinney as the head coach, whether you think he's hokey or not, and a lot of people do, the best thing about Dabo Swinney and his hokiness, if you want to call it that, dude goes to bat for his guys, right? Dude goes to bat for his guys. And for the record, most college football coaches do. Most college football coaches make sure they go to bat for their guys. But Dabo does so hard, right? And as I said on the show yesterday, I love the fact that at the end of that game, when they were doing the wrap-up interview with Dabo leaving the field, before they really even asked the question, Dabo was like, hey, listen, before anybody writes anything, before anybody sparks the controversy, before anybody uses this to try to get some clicks on the interwebs, DJ's our starting quarterback. DJ's our guy. DJ's going to be QB1 coming up next weekend or November 5th when they take on Notre Dame. DJ is our dude, right? Like Dabo killed that discussion before it started. And I guess that's why I kind of found it funny that these guys on the SI podcast, again, a podcast that I listen to, that I like, that I enjoy. I think that's why I found it so funny that on this pod, them launching into quite a bit of discussion about the QB controversy was, I don't know what the right word is, not offensive. It was just silly, right? Like it's one
lazy
thing,
is what it is.
Yeah,
it's lazy. There's
feels
other
that
stuff you could be talking about instead of going on with something that is a fan conversation, but not actually a thing. Really.
It's honestly, I don't even think it's a fan conversation. We got yesterday, after we talked about it, a number of texts from people talking about this. And I think we got one text yesterday from somebody saying they're ready to make the switch to Cade Klubnik. We got one text out of dozens we got to the show on this topic. We got one text from a guy that's like, I'm still in for hashtag bench TJ. I'm like, what are you talking about? Right? It felt, I like that word, Lonzo. It feels lazy. And that's from a couple of dudes who just spent 17 minutes talking about Mac Jones sliding his cleat into the junk of another player last night. It felt lazy. Not even Clemson fans are having that discussion, but even if they were, right? I would get that discussion had Dabo not said what he said after the game was over. Had Dabo not said, DJ's our guy, we're going right back to him. We needed a spark. We needed to try to change something up, but DJ's our guy. We're going right back to him. Then I'm like, all right, maybe I could see it being a clickbait conversation, right? Like maybe I could see it being, but it's not even a good clickbait conversation because the answer's already there. It's like one of those websites that's like, this unknown secret will save you hundreds on gas. Gas companies hate that you know about it. And then you click on it and you open it and the secret's like, make sure your tires are fully inflated. Like, yeah, dummy, we knew that already, right? And out of a pod that I very much enjoy and think those guys do a great job, that one just felt out of place. Like I'm almost chalking it up to they didn't see that question and answer from Dabo, right? I'm almost chalk because, again, I don't see every coach's post-game interview, right? There's 100 games on Saturdays that I got to go through the results and try to keep track and sort and organize all of them. I don't see every coach's post-game presser, especially when they're a daytime game, right? Clemson-Syracuse goes final and Ole Miss LSU starts in like 3 minutes. I got to get over there for that. I don't see them all, but man,
it sounds like the stats guys went, you know what? We're not hitting on this demographic in this area. So bring this up and we'll be able to build that up a little bit.
Yeah. And I get that. And listen, if you guys don't think that I have had problems in my career, certainly not here, as I've mentioned, the management here does not ask for any editorial control over my show, right? Like basically the amount of editorial control that management here has is, hey, make sure you talk about Clemson, South Carolina, and the Panthers. Like that's it, right? Just make sure you hit on the local teams. Make sure that you do these reads, you mention these upcoming broadcasts, and you hit on the three major teams. Outside of that, do your show. I guess there could be some element of like, maybe they're trying to get this podcast to catch on in the Carolinas. And I understand that. And I get that. It's a great college football area. Of course you want a presence here. Of course you do. But I'll tell you what the way to not get those people is. The way to not get those people, if that was the goal, is to go off on a hypothetical you already have the answer to. I got zero problems with hypotheticals in sports talk radio, right? It's one of those things that Mark and I very much disagree on. I love a hypothetical because it makes you think, right? It makes you try to think, outside the box a little bit. If Dabo had not said, DJ's our guy and we're sticking with our guy, then that's a fine question to ask, right? DJ struggled, 2 picks, a lot of really, really bad throws. Cade came in, went to a 4 handoff machine, but was that them working him into the fold? Was that, and by the way, that would have been my approach, right? It would not have been, is there a quarterback controversy? The fun question, if you wanted to create a clickbait hypothetical, which I did not, would have been, was this Dabo's way of giving Cade some big-time XP, right? Big game, national broadcast against the top 16 team. Is this Dabo's way of giving Cade some experience in a big-time environment, in a big-time game, to slowly work him into DJ's spot. That would have been the correct way to do it if you wanted to create a controversial topic. But even still, the answer was a very clear and obvious no.
Or is it Dabo's way to quiet the people who are calling for Cade, showing that he only threw 4 passes? There's probably a certain part of the fan base out there going that Dabo didn't let Cade throw the ball because he knew if he did, he would look so much better than DJ, and he would be forced to have to keep him in there.
Yeah, even that's a better way to handle it, right? Like, that's the right way to phrase that if you want to create a controversial topic. But again, if you want to create a controversial topic, you better have all the information available. And I don't know if they just didn't see it, or they ignored it, or they thought that Dabo was lying. But Dabo immediately after that game very quickly stepped up and went, yo, DJ's getting the start at Notre Dame. It's not a question. It's a statement, right? I'm not asking for opinions. I'm telling you my authority. DJ's starting. Quit asking about it. I don't know. It just felt off to me. It really did. All right, let's take a break. See, Joe steps in, said if your starting pitcher who's played well all season gets rocked in his ace start, you go to the bullpen because it gives you the best chance to win. Doesn't mean the reliever you brought in is your new starting pitcher. Yeah, that's it. That's it. DJ had an off 5th inning, 4th inning. They went and got him some relief to give him the best chance to win that game. But the next time DJ's up in the rotation, he's going right back to the bump for the start. That's exactly right. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Got some more NFL talk to get into. Got some more college football talk to get into. It's going to be busy. Yeah, I know I sound like crap. Leave me alone. Stop texting me that. Yes, we are aware. I sound bad. I know. Texas said the only reason Cade came in is because he's a better runner, and they saw that Cuse couldn't stop the run. Might be true as well. That is literally a better topic than what they did. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
NBA tomorrow, the Hornets visit the Knicks. Both teams 2-1, New York's won 2 straight. The Atlanta Hawks begin a 5-game road trip back to Detroit. After the Carolina Panthers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 21-3 on Sunday, interim coach Steve Wilkes says P.J. Walker will remain the starting quarterback for the foreseeable future.
As I mentioned yesterday, it's going to be tough to not put him back in there. As of right now, I don't see no reason not to. I'm going to evaluate things throughout the week. I thought his performance yesterday was very impressive in the things that he did.
The 2-5 Panthers visit the 3-4 Atlanta Falcons this Sunday. NHL last night, the Carolina Hurricanes beat Vancouver 3-2. Carolina with 2 goals in the third period. They improved to 4-1-1. Back home Friday against the Islanders. Catch every Carolina Panthers game live on Classic Rock 101.1. Download the Odyssey app and search the Fan Upstate. Then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders, and that's your Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
From the Ingles Market Studio.
I haven't even brought up the fact that I met real life flat earthers yesterday.
See, I thought that was just a picture that you got. So you were at
Falls Park.
It was.
Yes.
Okay.
And you would better believe I went on with them for about 20 minutes.
Oh, you went and talked to them?
Oh, went and talked to them.
Oh, you
I
debated.
flat out fought them.
Real well.
Not fist fight.
Yeah, I mean, So that's where your voice went.
Part of it didn't help. Didn't help. Because everything they said was demonstrably wrong. And I had a great time with those losers. I said this on a tweet. I would like to think that Lonzo would agree, though maybe not. Maybe I put off a different image of me than I see in my head. I respect.
You put me on the spot there, so
and that's fine. No, I want you to be honest here. I respect people's beliefs. I got no problem. Most people in this building hold a far different set of beliefs than I do, and I'm friends with everybody. I respect people's beliefs. You lose me when you start lying to children. And every time that people would walk by these clowns, they would target the kids. They would not talk to the parents. They would immediately start talking to the kids.
Well, if you're trying to put something over, that's where you need to go.
100%.
Not saying that it was right, but that's they knew what they were doing
Yeah.
as far as that goes.
They're like kids. What your parents and what your teachers are teaching you is wrong. They're lying to you. And we have all this proof. And it's like, that kid's 8, right? Like that kid's 8 years old. He's 7 years old. He's going to be impressionable. And what you are telling him is a lie. And I got into a fight with these guys about it.
Were you alone when you did this?
At the start, and then people started joining in, and it was by the end of my probably 17, 18 minutes of talking with these guys, there were 4 of them. And by the end, there were probably 6 or 7 of us that were like, oh, yeah, well, then this. And it was fantastic. And it was because I kept repeating. I'm like, if you are so damn smart, why are you out here trying to convince kids instead of in a lab proving it with actual science? They're like, we have science. Look at our billboards. That's not science, dude. That's propaganda on a billboard. And you keep trying to target children with it. Talk to me. I'm right here trying to talk to you.
So I got to admit, I didn't look really close at the picture to see what the age range of these people were. What were they? I mean,
mid-20s to late 20s. But, and this is one of those things, I actually thought about you because did you ever watch the Beyond the Curve documentary on Netflix?
no, because it's just, I mean, come on.
Watch it. It is genuinely, it's funny, but it's eye-opening into the way that these people interact. And you know, we made a joke. Well, I made a joke that's not a joke about furries, right? Like furries are the one group of people that I'm like, I don't respect your belief because I don't get it. And I'm joking. If somebody told me they were furry, whatever, dude. I don't care. Live your life. But you talked one time about how there's probably a lot of people that maybe don't necessarily love it, but it's a group that they found that they fit into.
It's a place to belong,
right?
yes.
I genuinely think that's the case for these people because these dudes were weird. And I got to think, like, there was the video. Mark Sargent is like the big flat earther. He's like the guy that's in charge of the movement. And he's the subject of this documentary. And the further you go into this documentary, the more it becomes evident that you're right. It's not necessarily that the guy hasn't been proven over and over and over and over and over again to be wrong and that he refuses to accept that he's incorrect. It's more that he has built this community of people around him. And if he was to come out and say, I'm wrong, the earth's round, he would lose all of those friends. And the dude's in his 50s and lives in his mom's basement. He doesn't have another group of people. So if he was to alienate himself from those people, he wouldn't have anybody else to socialize with. So he would rather be openly, publicly wrong and told how much of a clown he is by the rest of the world in order to maintain this little community of weirdos he's built around him than to go, yeah, you guys got me. I'm wrong. It's ridiculous.
It's also how cults start.
100%.
Yeah.
That's exactly correct.
And if I were there, it would have been live streamed because I would have pulled out my phone. I wouldn't have said anything. I'd have been.
I thought about it. But like, there's a part of me that feels bad for these guys, right? Because I'm like, you're out here.
Come on, I get you don't like Aaron Rodgers. Don't put him in that category. Do not do that.
How have I made it 48 minutes into the show and not brought up the fact that I had a fight with flat earthers yesterday?
Was Kyrie there?
No, I was looking for him. Y'all, so yesterday afternoon, you know, the lady friend and I have a puppy. She's like 10 months old, 11 months old. And we're getting to the point where we're like, we got to train her. Like, we got to train her. We're training her. I'm working her. So I decided, because she's getting better at sit-stay, I'm like, let me take her down to a place where there's a lot of people. And let us work on those commands around people, right? Like around distractions so that I can keep her dialed in on me and learn to focus on me even when there's a lot going on. So I decided to go down to Falls Park, right? Down by the Reedy. I went to Falls Park and I show up at a park on Main Street and I walk down to Falls Park and I'm like up where the water fountain is, and down those stairs that walk down towards the base of the falls, I hear a bunch of yelling. And I'm like, uh-oh, what's this? And I walk down the stairs and there they are. A table of flat earthers.
Rob's bad science sense was tingling.
Yes. I see the sign. The sign says, as they all do, research flat earth. So as I'm walking down the stairs, this dork yells $60,000 to anybody that can prove the earth is round. $60,000. And I'm like, I know there's no chance that they're ever going to pay this off. They'll just reject every bit of proof. But you know what I decided to do to start the conversation? My poor pup, by the way, is overwhelmed by this. You know what I did, Zoe? I went to Netflix. I opened up the Behind the Curve documentary. If you haven't seen it, it's art. At the end of this documentary, the chief weirdo of the flat earth community decides to do an experiment, right? 2 boards with holes in them, 17 feet off the ground. He goes X amount of distance off in the background, and based on the math of the curvature of the earth, if they put the light at 17 feet in the air, you should be able to see the light through the 2 holes. If the earth is curved, you have to raise the light up to 23 feet in order to match the 2 holes to get there. He goes, hey, raise your light to 17 feet. Guess what? No light. Hey, raise it up to 23 feet. Guess what? They see the light. And the guy to end the doc goes, interesting, right? There was another experiment where they got a gyroscope, a laser gyroscope. It's like the most accurate thing that we've created to define where you sit on the planet. And they put it in a box. And they're like, okay, based on the rotation of a curved Earth, if we open this box at X time, the gyroscope should read like 33 degrees or 23 degrees or whatever. They're like, but it won't because the Earth's flat. We're not moving. And then they open the box, and what do you think they find? It's at the projected 23 degrees. Repeated, testable, provable. So what did Rob Brown's smart ass decide to do? I put up the documentary on my phone, and I went, yeah, I got a guy that's got proof. And I showed him the light hole experiment. I'm like, these are your dudes doing the experiment. And you know what the guy told me? No. The energy of the skies above us threw off the experiment. It's incorrect. They sent out a report. They said that there was too much energy and it was changing. It was changing the path of light.
What kind of energy?
Oh, he didn't know. It was the quote. I'm going to use his quote, not mine. The energy of the heavens was changing the direction of the light to fool us. Another guy told me, and I can't make it up, that it was demonic influence that changed the direction of the light. A demon bit the light to try to trick us all. And I'm like, guys, this is your proof. I want my 60K. I didn't even have to do the experiment. Your clown buddies did it for me. I want my money. Shocker, they wouldn't give it to me. 17 minutes I went on with Flat Earthers yesterday and had the time of my damn life. I'm such a loser. I admit I'm a dork too.
How did you hide your smile?
I didn't.
Okay.
I laughed in their face repeatedly, and I'll tell you what set me off. I don't care what you believe. I really don't. As I pointed out to Lonzo during the break, I hold far different opinions and beliefs than the majority of people in this building, but I'm friends with every one of them because I respect your beliefs until you start lying to kids. And when families would walk by, these losers would zone in on their kids. Hey, kid, your teacher and your parents are lying to you. Let us show you how. And they would try to get the kids on board. And that's where you popped off. Rob Brown went 17 minutes toe-to-toe with Flat Earthers. And by the time I was done, there were more of us telling these clowns why they should pack it up and leave than there were them. It was amazing. I might go back today just to see if they're still there. I might take a return trip. Let's take a break. Hour number 2 is around the corner on the Rob Brown Show. The earth is round. There are flat earthers all around the globe. The Rob Brown Show, the fan upstate.
So can a flat earther be around the globe? Because the flat earth doesn't think that it's globe.
A couple of years ago, the flat earthers have a Facebook community, right? And they got burned because a couple of years ago on their Facebook page, they put, there are flat earth believers all around the globe. On their Facebook page.
Oh, that's funny.
Uh-huh.
That is so funny.
Uh-huh. Oh, listen, Michael, this is how I look at it. I vote in every election. I voted every time I'm available to vote. I vote, right? I am not going to solve the world's problems walking my dog at the Falls Park. So I might as well have a little fun. That's pretty much where it comes from me. I am not going to solve world hunger when I take my dog to work on sit and stay at the park. But if I can make a couple of people using junk science to lie to children look bad in front of the people they're trying to impress, I'm absolutely going to do it. No problem with that. None at all.
I'm glad it didn't turn violent.
Wouldn't have mattered if it did. Here, let me show you the favorite part, my favorite part of this picture for those that, if you don't follow me on Twitter, I put this up on Twitter yesterday. Here's my favorite part. So I'm hoping the camera will pick it up. Here's their Adorbs little setup at the park, right? Here's my favorite part. Look at the giant let me close out the text here. Look at these giant oversized lab coats that they were wearing because that's what made them scientists.
Well, you got to show up somehow. I get that from if you see someone in a giant lab coat, you're going to want to know what they're doing. So, so that may be one of the things they did right.
Look at these clowns, dude. Oh, it was so bad. And he wasn't the only one. There was another less oversized lab coat dude walking around in the back. They all had shirts on with the NASA logo that said lies across it. And their dork sign. That was spectacular. My man Timmy Frisbee showed up and said, after the 17 minutes, did you feel better or worse? Never argue with fools. Tim, in a weird way, I felt great. In a weird way, I felt great.
He actually sent me a text. That's how much he was into it. He never does that. I'm just like, wait, this is a text from Rob.
I texted. I'm like, guys, get to the park. I was trying to get people to come have fun with me. For whatever reason, nobody wanted to come to the park and play with me.
I still have never been to Falls Park.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's
I just I live in the woods. Why do I need to go somewhere else to be?
It's nice to. It's cool to be sitting in the middle of downtown next to this really pretty reserve.
Plus, I've been chastised by another host on this station because I won't go to Falls Park, which means I'll never go to Falls Park because of that. But
so
you've seen I do live in the woods. I don't need to go. I don't need to go to the woods. I can walk to my mailbox.
Here's why I felt better, Tim. Here's why I felt better. Changing someone's belief does not start in a conversation at the park. Well, scratch that. It does not happen at a conversation in the park, right? That's not where beliefs change. Beliefs change via those conversations when you hammer something and you prove to someone that something they believe is false or that they don't have good rationale or logic behind their belief. They're not going to change their mind on the spot, right? What you're hoping happens is that it clicks in the back of their brain that, oh, yeah, that's right. I am using faulty logic. I do have bad rationale for what I believe. And they think about it and think about it and think about it. And it eats and it eats and it eats. And eventually they come to the realization that their belief is unfounded, right? Now, I do not argue with people about, spiritual beliefs, religious beliefs. I will argue about beliefs that are held via science, even political beliefs. As much as Lonzo will make me out, I don't really argue political.
Dude, don't put me in this. I may joke here and there. You call yourself something. I have nothing to do with that.
I don't really even argue politics that often. But when you start trying to bring science and you're using bad science, that's when Rob Brown will step in. And I'm not claiming to be the smartest guy on the block, but when you are making easily disprovable scientific claims.
I think if you say you're stepping in, you're pointing out that you can do some damage or enlighten people.
Yes.
So you are saying you're the smartest
Correct.
person on that.
No, not the smartest person. I just know about this more than you do.
I've looked at the room. I am the smartest person in this room.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I've never felt that way, but I'm sure it's awesome.
In a room full of people who believe the earth is flat, I got no problem claiming I'm the smartest guy in the room.
Okay.
None.
I have to agree with you there.
That's what I'm saying. In this building, I'm probably the dumbest person in this building. But if I go downtown and there's 9 guys teaching flat Earth,
I'm going
the
to shake my
smartest
head
guy at
on that,
table.
and I'm not even going to say it's me.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is our numero dos. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to have you along for the ride. I am Rob Brown on the other side of the glass. The guy in charge of the broadcast every single day. The conductor of the symphony of sound that is the Rob Brown Show. The great one, Lonzo, is at the helm.
Now I know what I'm going to come for Halloween, what I'm going to dress up as. All I need is a big lab coat.
The dorks at the park had on lab clothes. I am shocked that we are still looking for a cancer cure with Einsteinian brilliance like these guys rolling around Falls Park in their super definitely legitimate scientist lab coats.
Chris wants you to be careful because he says that flat earthers have a group of enforcers.
Yeah.
It's all right. You can just stand around the corner and they won't be able to find you.
Yeah. Just tell them that the building is flat and there's nothing on the other side. They won't come looking for you. Oh, man. Clemson's defense was expected to be very, very good this year. Clemson's defense was expected to be one of the best in the country so far this year. In fact, I heard some people calling for this defense to be historically good.
Who would say something like that? That's funny. That is funny.
I'm just going to chalk it up to sources.
Okay. Didn't they just lose, their defensive coordinator? Not a very good head coach, but he was a pretty good defensive coordinator.
Turns out that might be right because Clemson is currently ranked in overall defense 27th. Now, there's how many? 131 teams in Division I football, something like that. They're ranked 27th in total defense, which, I try to tell people you got to keep an eye on this because strength of schedule comes into play. I want to know who they played, when they played them, where they played them, what time they played them. All that matters to me. Do I think that Clemson's defense is less talented than number 26 Appalachian State's? No. Do I think that they are less talented than UAB at 21, South Alabama at 20, Tulane at 19? Do I think that they are less talented than James Madison at number 11? Do I think they're less talented than Liberty, who is ranked above them? No. Right? Athlete for athlete across the starting 11 on the defensive side of the football, Clemson is better. We know that. As the old phrase goes, you can pretty much make statistics say anything you want to say. Except that the globe's flat. But it is certainly not as good as we thought it was going to be. Clemson has surrendered 2,660 yards on defense so far. That is an average of 4.91 yards per play after facing 542 total offensive plays. For comparison's sake, let's look at another playoff team. I don't know, let's pick one at random. How about Ohio State University? Clemson, Lonzo, has been on defense for 542 plays. Ohio State's been on defense for 399. Now, you can talk about the fact that Ohio State's offense is very good. They're able to sustain drives for longer, meaning that defense for Clemson has been called into action more frequently than Ohio State's has based on punts, etc. But I think the other angle of this that you could look at is much like in the Syracuse game this past Saturday, there is a heck of a lot of inability to get off the field on third down, right? How many in the first half, especially, Zoe, how many third downs did we see Schrader convert with his legs? At least a handful, right?
And it didn't look like that should be possible, but absolutely.
Dude was tearing it up. 542 plays. Ohio State's been on defense for 399. And for the record, the top 14 defenses in the country, right? The top 14 defenses in the country have all been on the field, Lonzo, for 477 or fewer snaps. Once you get to number 15, those numbers start jumping up into the up into the lower 5 and upper 500s, right? So far, Clemson's defense has surrendered 2,660 yards on the defensive side of the football. Ohio State, 1,679. Clemson has given up, Zoe, almost 1,000 more yards than the Buckeyes so far. Now, this is where you talk about schedule. As we pointed out, Ohio State's schedule has been very mid, as the kids say. That's not a shot because you're winning every game by 30. Sorry, you just won that one game by 30. But you're winning every game by lots, right? 1,000 more yards surrendered by Clemson's defense than Ohio State's. Clemson is surrendering 4.91 yards per play. Ohio State, 4.21. Now, that's only that much per play, right? We're talking about that much difference on average per play.
Still too much.
That much difference average per play, right? Not great. Not bad. Except for you have also surrendered about 150 more plays. So 150 of these. That's a lot. It adds up to a lot. Offensive touchdowns. Ohio State University has given up 10. Clemson, 18. Ohio State University is surrendering 239.9 yards per game. Clemson, 332.5. You are giving up, what's that make out? 92-ish yards per game more than Ohio State. Now, as I mentioned, Ohio State's schedule has, like it or not, been an easier schedule than Clemson's. Clemson has played, 3 ranked teams so far? 3 ranked teams so far. So they have played a tougher round. But if this defense was supposed to be a historically good defense, certainly numbers-wise, they would be better than 27th overall in the country in total defense, right? Despite the fact that they beat them. Florida State, who has played the same schedule as Clemson for the most part, right? The same schedule as Clemson for the most part. Florida State has played about 80 fewer plays. Florida State has given up about 340 fewer yards. Florida State is giving up fewer yards per play. Florida State has given up a half a yard fewer per game. So the yards per game number is about the same. But Florida State's been able to get off the field on third down. That's the key difference here. Here's why I'm bringing this up. Clemson's a playoff team, right? Do we all agree? Does anybody think there's a way Clemson doesn't make the playoff? Besides a wonky loss to like Notre Dame.
Yeah, I was going to say there's definitely a way. Multiple losses, but one loss takes them out of it for sure.
One loss takes you out. One loss does not remove Bama. One loss
even if that one loss is in the ACC championship, you lose, you're out.
You might be right. One loss does not remove Bama. If Bama does not lose again, there's a very good chance Bama's in, right? One loss does not remove Georgia. If Georgia loses one, whether it's the SEC championship game or to Tennessee, but then they win the SEC championship game, Georgia's going in. One loss does not remove Tennessee. If Tennessee loses to Georgia but wins the SEC, which, by the way, would be tough, right? because the winner of that game likely is the champ out of the East. But you lose one, and let's say it's the SEC championship game to Bama, you're still going in. You're still going in. I don't know that that's the case with Clemson. But I also know that Clemson has an easier path between them and the conference championship than Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama do, right?
You can throw Ohio State in there also because they still have to play Michigan. And Michigan right now is terrible.
Ohio State's still got to play Penn State, too.
Yeah.
Ohio State's got a tougher route to their conference championship than Clemson does. Clemson has got to win out, which basically is, what do they have? They've got Notre Dame. I'm doing this off my head. Notre Dame, Louisville, Miami, South Carolina, right? I think it's the wrap up to the season for them. Clemson's got to win out. Alabama's got to win out. Georgia, Tennessee can probably eat a loss as long as it's in the SEC championship game.
By the way, you were right. That's who they have left.
Okay.
So
Ohio State might be actually, I don't know if Ohio State can eat a loss because I think it's been shown over and over the SEC can get a one-loss team in before a one-loss team from any other Power 5 conference.
And that's it, I think.
I agree.
Especially if it's a late loss. An early loss you might be able to recover from early in the season, depending on who it is. But yeah, I mean, we saw that last year. Ohio State would have went in if they won. They lost to Michigan. They were out.
The point, though, here overall is that all of the teams right now, all of the teams that you are lined up against, all of the teams you are lined up against if you make it to the playoff at this point, all of them, defensively, you got to be able to get off the field. You've got to be able to get off the field on third down. If you can't get off the field on third down, you're in trouble, right? CJ Stroud, if you give him 5, 6, 7 third down conversions in a game, he's going to beat you for one or two of them. Georgia, Stetson Bennett, those tight ends will eat you for lunch on third down if you can't make stops. Tennessee's offense is freaking good. You can't give Tennessee any additional chances. They will burn you. And again, Bama's still good, right? I think folks looked at that Bama-Tennessee loss, and, in fact, I almost had to laugh because after Bama lost to Tennessee on the road, the next day when I was getting the show prep ready for that Monday show, how many articles did I come across? Is this the end for Nick Saban? Is Bama unraveling? Should Saban pack it up and head somewhere else? I'm like, guys, you do realize that they just lost to one of the better college offenses we've seen in years, right? Like, maybe relax. Bama's still very, very good. Very, very good. Clemson's defense at this point is going to have to get better on third downs. The numbers that I just read you, right? As far as where they stand on the fact that they have allowed more plays to be run. In fact, overall defense number 27. Let me just double check this number. But in the 26 teams ahead of them, Lonzo, in the 26 teams ahead of them, only one team has allowed more plays to be run against their defense than Clemson, and it's Troy. Troy is the only defense ranked ahead of Clemson that has allowed more plays to be run, 562, so 20 more plays. Everybody else has allowed fewer plays. Yards per game, 332. Illinois 221, Ohio State 229. In fact, you don't get to another team allowing 300 yards per game until you get to number 17 in the country, Cincinnati. That's when you get to that 300 mark. And by the way, that's 305. So you're still looking at almost 30 fewer yards per game. That said, those two numbers combined tell me that Clemson is allowing too many third down conversions. You are allowing teams to extend drives in spots where you need to be finishing them off. And if you want to take that step and you want to crack to be good in the playoffs, right? If you take a crack and you want to be good in the playoffs, these numbers have to get better. It's not an option. Ohio State will beat Clemson's defense today. And it's not to say Clemson's defense is bad. Second half of that game against Cuse, once they put the adjustments together, they took everything away from Syracuse, right? Figured them out. But you got to do better early in the game. You got to do better early in the game. Because Lonzo, if Schrader can do that against Clemson's defense in their house, what's Hendon Hooker going to do to them on a neutral field? What's CJ Stroud going to do to them on a neutral field? What is Bryce Young going to do to them on a neutral field? Of the 4 teams that are likely going to the playoffs, because I think Ohio State's better than Michigan. Michigan's good, but I think Ohio State's better. Tennessee or Georgia, right? And Alabama. Of those potential playoff teams, Ohio State, Bama, and Tennessee all have Heisman Trophy finalists. At the end of the year, CJ Stroud will be in New York. At the end of the year, Hendon Hooker will be in New York. At the end of the year, Bryce Young will be in New York looking for number 2. You don't stop those cats on third down. When you get them there, they will make you pay. That is what Clemson needs to be working on. Against Notre Dame on November 5th, you got a week to get this together, to get this ready. But when you go line up 2 Saturdays from now in South Bend, November 5th, Lonzo, I would love to see Brian Bresee in the ears of that Clemson defense pin back. I would love to see them just get after Notre Dame. Show no mercy. Go looking for blood. Sweep the leg, Johnny. And go make Notre Dame look bad, right? Show me that you can get that done. Show me that you can go get it done. Because that's the only way I'm going to start to believe. I think Clemson's very good. I think Clemson's undefeated good. I think Clemson's ACC championship good. They're not with Bama. They're not with Georgia. They're not with Ohio State. They're not with Michigan yet. You want to show me that you can be? You want to get to that spot? That's great. That's great. Show me you can do it by murdering Notre Dame in their own field. That's what's going to tip you over the edge. Texter said, Rob, where have I heard this all before? How about the 2018 season where Clemson lost the game and they were a terrible team that Alabama was going to kill them? Stats are like bikinis. They show some things, but not everything. You know, I've heard that before. And I get it. I have to.
Yeah, that saying is for people who have no imagination. Yeah, that's what that is.
I base my belief in data and statistics, but that does not mean they are always going to transfer to the next event, right? That's why we do every game's an experiment. If I can be a science dork for a minute, every game is an experiment. You can take a look
for a minute, like that ever goes away.
You can take a look at the data, take a look at the numbers, and form your projections. But the next experiment could be the one that blows it all up. That is why we repeatedly, if you talk scientific method, your experiment's conclusions must be empirical and repeatable, right? If the data doesn't repeat, if the numbers results don't repeat, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying Clemson can't do it. I'm saying right now, there's a reason you're a dog to all of those teams. There's a reason you're a dog to all those teams. Texter said, I briefly recall Mark Ryan saying DJ was a Heisman candidate last week. Ha 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 ha. I think DJ's been better. Is he a Heisman candidate? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Does DJ belong on a podium with CJ Stroud? No. Hendon Hooker? No. Bryce Young? No. Does DJ belong on a Heisman podium? No. That's not a shot at DJ. DJ's been much better, much improved. I've enjoyed watching DJ, but he's not a Heisman candidate. Not a chance. No shot. No shot. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, got a few more things we need to get into. I told you yesterday, the Carolina Panthers need to let PJ Walker start this week in Atlanta. He earned that starting opportunity, and as of right now, looks like he gives you the best chance to win a game. That if you get some help from Baltimore and they beat Tampa on Thursday, which is a good chance they do, the Carolina-Atlanta game is for the division lead. PJ Walker gives you the best chance to win. Well, once again, Steve Wilkes proves that he listens to Rob Brown because that's who's getting the starting nod Sunday. Is it the right call? I want your opinion on that. And we've got a new coach v. coach rivalry in college football to pay attention to. Harborough versus whom? I'll tell you all that and more coming up with the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Warehouse.
Be right back, stream. Got a live read to do. Stick around.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we back. We back.
Tripled his passing output from the previous week. I knew the coaches trusted me from the beginning. The game plan last week was the game plan last week. And this week, we just want to come out there, push the ball downfield when we got the opportunities to. And just go out there and play out football. Play out football. I mean, we still ran for 170 yards. And besides those 3 and outs early, I thought we played an excellent game on offense.
Walker's now put himself in the conversation. It's one more start. I mean, he's from the Carolina Panthers radio network.
The NBA season less than a week old.
We had to stop by Target last night to pick up some groceries, and we were walking by the toy section, and all the Wakanda Forever toys are out, and they just straight up have an Ironheart action figure out. Just you see what the real look like. I just know what she's gonna look like now.
Yeah, well,
I have done so good at avoiding it. The only thing I had seen was the glimpse from underneath her flying up in the trailer, right? And that's all I've seen. I had done a great job at avoiding what her costume was going to look like until I just saw it yesterday. I was like, man, come on.
Well, the rumor is that Tony Stark didn't build it, that Shuri's going to build it.
I was under the impression rebuilds it herself.
Well, in the comics, she's like his understudy or something. So,
and she learned how to make it from him.
I hope they don't go away from that because I think they should tie that in. But we'll see.
And I assume they would.
She's obviously American, so
yeah,
by her accent. So
she's the understood backstory that I got was that she studied at Stark Industries, was like Tony's understudy, learned how to use his tech, and then used it to build her own armor after he passed. And I assume that was the story or some version of that story that they were going to run with.
I hope so. But we'll find out next month.
It's not even, that's only 2.5 weeks
It's still
away.
next month. But yes, we're both right. It can happen. We both can be right. I think it's November 11th.
I believe you are correct.
Not going to happen, James. Although there is a rumor. I saw it on a couple of sites and I didn't click on it because I didn't want to know that Downey Jr. may be back. So who knows? Maybe he teaches her how to do it in hologram form, which would be just awesome. It would be really cool if Tony was her new Jarvis.
Do you have Robert Downey Jr. play a hologram / voice?
Oh, without a doubt, you do that just for the fan service.
Yeah,
and it doesn't lessen the impact of his death.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because it's him. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he put,
uploaded his conscious.
Lad says there's AI Tony in the comics, so there you go.
True.
Mad World, next break.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob. He is Lonzo. You are you. Join us. 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. Matt Ryan gets benched in favor of former Texas quarterback Sam Ehlinger, who's going to take over the starting role for the Colts, and that is a permanent move.
Who?
Sam.
Who's that?
Ehlinger.
Who's that?
Ehlinger. He is the Colts draft pick that Matt Ryan was brought in to start for a year and give him the chance to learn the game. But Matt Ryan is not good this year.
Hey, kid, here's what not to do.
Here's a question I have. I have, for a number of years, blamed the ineptitude of the Atlanta Falcons on the Atlanta Falcons, right? I have, for a number of years, said that it is the Atlanta Falcons that were holding back Matt Ryan, that Matt Ryan was too good of a quarterback to look as bad as he's looked in Atlanta for as long as he's looked bad in Atlanta. And I got a lot of ATL fans, a lot of dirty birds that are hitting me up right now like, hey, Rob, hey, Rob, hey, Rob, hey, Rob, hey, Rob. Maybe it was Matt Ryan.
It's a little unfair, isn't it? Because look at his age now. I mean, that has to factor in.
Thank you very much. That's a big part of it. I would also like to factor in that after Andrew Luck left Indy, the Colts have done a spectacularly terrible job at putting any semblance of a team back together, right? I had optimism that with Matt Ryan showing up in Indy, perhaps the Colts would try. This is a bad program right now. This is a bad franchise right now. I am not dropping this on Matt Ryan, and it does not let the Atlanta Falcons off the hook, right? Because the shot that I'm getting back from Falcons fans is, hey, Rob, would you look at that? Matt Ryan leaves. We bring in Marcus Mariota, and all of the sudden, we've got a tie for the NFC South lead. Yeah, you do? In the worst division in football, by a lot. Your 3-4 record would have you in second in a not great North. It would have you third in the NFC West. It would have you in last in the NFC East. It would have you in last in the AFC East. It would have you in third in the AFC West. It would have you in third in the AFC North. And it would have you in third in the AFC South right now. Like Atlanta fans, yeah, it's interesting because Carolina fans this year and being in the spot they're in at 2-5 and knowing that a win to go to 3-5 this weekend and move Atlanta to 3-5 and give them the leg up on the division with wins over Tampa and Atlanta and New Orleans. Carolina fans right now are very, I don't know, Zoe, like it doesn't feel like they're taking it for granted that they're playing for potentially playing for a divisional lead on Sunday. Atlanta fans are all dancing around like they knew this is what was going to happen.
All right, here's the difference in this game. The other opponents for the Panthers considered this a get right game. Atlanta can't consider this a get right game because they're already in first place. So to Atlanta, this is a remain in first place game. So it's a totally different mentality on the other side of the field.
I think that's fair.
Because ask Tampa Bay about that get right game.
Yeah, they got
so
it.
they came in with a certain mentality, and that is one of the reasons why they got beat.
I think you're probably right. I do. I think Tampa came into this game thinking this is a gimme game. I think Tampa came into this game thinking we're just going to go up to Charlotte. We're going to use this to find our groove, to find our rhythm, to get back to being what Tampa Bay is supposed to be, leaders of this division. And instead, they found a team clad in silver and blue that is very much not rolling over. That is very much not tanking. That is very much here to try to get some wins, even if it costs them draft picks. Atlanta on the flip side, I think Atlanta's in a spot right now where, and I don't know if the team feels this way, if it's just the fans, right? But Atlanta fans at this point, they're talking like this was always the outcome, right? They're talking like this was always the outcome, like it was Atlanta's division to take. Oh, Brady's old. It was time for us to replace him. Dude, you're 3-4, right? You're 3-4. You would be second in the other division where you would be in your best spot, and you'd be third or last in literally 6 of 8 divisions right now. Relax.
Take a breath.
What a difference a week makes for Carolina, though. I mean,
last week we asked, is it tank time? This week we're playing for a division.
Yeah, suddenly you're like, okay, they have a shot. There's still those people. No. We want the first round draft pick. Okay, whatever. They continue to get draft capital. They may be able to trade up a little bit. You never know. Or maybe they don't need to. Is PJ Walker the guy for the future? Is he the future of this franchise? Or is he just a placeholder? If he
no.
If he's able to win the rest, because I still don't think he's starting this Sunday, but you do. So
they already said he is.
No. He didn't say definite. He did not say. I listened to the press conference. He said right now he's the starter going into Sunday.
Well, I will tell you that yesterday, David Newton, staff reporter for ESPN covering the Panthers, reported that, quote, PJ Walker to stay Panthers starting quarterback at Falcons on Sunday. This came out.
Yeah, I watched the Wilkes press conference yesterday. It had just happened. And he didn't say it's definitive he will be the starter. And it's been played a couple times on our air today.
Wilkes said, as of right now, I see no reason not
as
to
of
start him.
As of right now, that is not definitive.
I'm gonna tell you, PJ starts unless he gets hurt at practice. Honestly, it's just the way it is.
I mean, I'm not trying to. Oh, I'm right and you're wrong.
Oh, I know.
He did not say definite, so there's a possibility that one of those other guys, if they're back and healthy for practice, could take PJ's
I mean, I guess if one of them lights it up at practice this week, but I doubt it. They haven't yet. I don't see any reason to believe they're coming off of injury. And
we really get into this in the Views from Min Street podcast, which you should download right now because it's available right now.
And this conversation will likely be held long form today.
Yeah. It's it was held long form yesterday.
Yeah, true.
And PJ Walker was number 4. He was number 4. There's a reason why he was number 4.
So all that being said, if you're Carolina, I think you're at this point. You're not taking it for granted, right? You have been handed a gift in the fact that the NFC South sucks as bad as it does. And it does, right? As much as we're talking up where Carolina is, let's not pretend that they're a good football team. And let's not pretend Atlanta or Tampa or New Orleans is. They all suck.
Everybody's bad. Yeah. Everybody is bad. But when everyone's bad, someone needs to be just a little less bad, and they get to win the conference.
And go to the playoffs.
There you go.
And who the hell knows what happens if you get hot at the right time heading in, even if you're not the 1 seed and get to bye, right? I mean, it just kind of is what it is. All right, let's see. We got a couple of chats coming in here. My man Brandon showing up. He's an ATL guy. He said it was always a Matt problem. That Super Bowl lies squarely on his shoulders. Does it? You were up 28-3. If I recall, defense gives up points, not offense.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Come on, Brandon.
He doesn't play defense.
Come on, Brandon. You're better than that. I know you are. He goes on to say, I watched Chuba and PJ tear us up in Atlanta last October. Was hoping not to face them again, but no Matt, cold as ice Ryan, so maybe we have a chance. I'll tell you right now, PJ Walker is going to start, and he's going to throw the ball about 13 times. You're going to catch a healthy dose of Chuba. You're going to catch a more than healthy dose of Dante. It's going to be a slugfest.
What are the strengths of Atlanta's defense?
I don't know, Brandon. What's the strength of your defense right now?
Or do they have any? I mean, if they don't, and they're like Tampa Bay last week, then you do the same thing.
I think you absolutely.
But the game plan changes week to week according to strengths and weaknesses of your opponent, and we don't know what Atlanta's strengths and weaknesses are.
Witnesses.
Well, there could be some.
Overall defense, they are ranked number 25 in the league, whereas Tampa's defense is ranked number 5 overall, even after Carolina did what they did to him. I mean, the flip side of that, though, is I could very easily make the argument that L was not on Tampa's defense, right? That L was on Tampa's offense. That L was on Brady. Because while offense don't give up points, they've got to be able to score them. Matt Ryan got you 28
in that Super Bowl. 28 wins you a lot of Super Bowls, right? Brady's offense got them 3. Got them 3. Now, you had the big drop pass down the middle that's been played about 10,000 times on ESPN the last few days. But they couldn't run the ball. Brady was missing guys. Guys were dropping footballs. That L was on Tampa's offense. Carolina did enough. Carolina did enough offensively. And I think that's got to be spoken about. Can Atlanta's offense have a better day against a very good Carolina defense? So we'll find out. James said Baker's not there to throw passes to defensive linemen. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute. Speaking of that Carolina-Tampa game, there's a little controversy that came out, and a referee is in a bit of hot water based on that something that happened at that game, and I want to know if you have a problem with it or not. I don't, but I do get why it is a problem. I'll explain it to you next when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, got a live read. Stay right here for me. Be right back.
This feature is sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech. This fall, there are updated COVID-19 booster shots designed to help protect against recent.
We had a guy that was signed from the practice squad last Sunday that day defending Jamar Chase after AJ Terrell went down. We need like 2 back-to-tanks at Flowery Branch this week. That's how you know you got a well-rounded friend and fan, when they can work a solid Star Wars reference into a good football take.
Oh, without a doubt.
chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, face some challenges. Improve their brand presence and message and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The results, an integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to KansasCitySteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WebNow1. That's 877-WebNow1.
That's the sound of a crack in the ceiling found at a home inspection. But with a realtor by your side,
I've got that song stuck in my head now from earlier.
with their expertise, a realtor can
What song would that be?
Turn around. Every now and then I fall apart.
That song always cracks me up because it was my cousin and his girlfriend's song, and I wasn't allowed to sing if I was in the car and that was playing. And yes, I did as instructed. No, I did not.
Every now and then
There's nothing like ruining someone's song for them. Making it to where every time they hear their song, they hear me butchering it.
And I need you more than ever. All right, a little controversy going down after the Tampa Carolina game. There was a referee who, in the tunnel after the game, walked up to Mike Evans and asked for Mike Evans to give him an autograph. The video was captured by 1340 AM Fox Sports. It shows side judge Jeff Lamberth and line judge Tripp Sutter calling Evans' name and each getting autographs from the star receiver after Tampa's 21-3 loss. The NFL and NFL Referees Association do have rules barring officials from approaching players, coaches, and NFL team personnel for autographs, as it can give the appearance of partiality. The collective bargaining agreement between the NFL and NFLRA allows officials to seek autographs, team merch, and memorabilia for charitable endeavors, but those requests must be made through the league's officiating department and not in person. NFL Net reported yesterday that the league was looking into that video. Here's the thing. It is 100% about the optics of the situation, right? NFL referees are supposed to be impartial. There was a referee about, I don't remember, 8-9 years ago that got removed from a game because, and of course it had to be, there were pictures floating around of him on game week where he was supposed to officiate a New Orleans Saints game wearing a bunch of Saints gear. And the NFL and the RA pulled him off of that game for obvious reasons, right? Well, these refs could have been asking for autographs for a million reasons. Their kid's a Mike Evans fan. They were trying to do something nice for a friend or family member. They have access and opportunity with NFL players that you and me and everybody else does not have.
What if it was for charity? What if they were trying to do something for charity?
They may have been. But the point is, the rules give them a protocol that they can go through to ask the NFL to get these signatures for them for charitable efforts. But I would also understand, right? Heat of the moment. It's like, yeah, I need that autograph from Mike Evans because I'm doing a charitable golf tournament in Florida, and I need a Mike Evans signature to raffle off. He's right here. I could go through the league, but this golf tournament's in 2 weeks. Why not give it get it right now? And that is why I'm not necessarily jumping to be upset about it directly, but I absolutely do understand why the league is cracking down on this cat.
Maybe he's collecting autographs from all the receivers who dropped easy touchdowns.
Maybe so. It's just a bad look. That's all it comes down to. It's a bad look, right?
So you're somewhere covering a sporting event for the fan. You see this. Are you doing what that radio station did?
No. Unless if I am at an event as a fan. And when I say as a fan, I mean I did not use radio station credentials to get there. I avoid it, right? Like, for instance, I got like 7 things that I've had autographs.
I think you're misunderstanding my question. A radio station took the picture and reported it. Would you take that picture and report it, or would you just let it go? Seeing the autograph thing being taken.
I think I get what you're saying. I think you're saying, like, if I saw another radio station person.
No. If you saw the ref asking for the autograph.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely,
all right.
I would.
Man, I thought I explained that simple.
Yeah,
but...
sorry. I misunderstood the question. I'm dumb and I'm slow and my brain fog. Yes, I would. Because it is a story, right? It is a story. And here's why. Even if Rob Brown did go to it, like Clemson's media day, right? I didn't get to go this year because it was during the show and I didn't have time to find somebody to fill in for me. But if I go to that, in fact, we did, right? I went to the last year's with Mark, and Mark and I grabbed a picture with Tony Elliott. We grabbed a picture with Brent Venables. We grabbed a picture with Dabo. Of course we did, because we use that for promotions, right? But here's the thing. Rob Brown has zero control over the game, right? Rob Brown can't wing a flag from the press box and penalize the other team 15 when they get a first down in an improbable situation. Rob Brown doesn't have that control. These guys literally are that control. And considering the fact that these officials are expected and they demanded to handle their business in an impartial way, it absolutely makes sense that the optics here are bad. It might be that these cats were getting this as a gift for a family member who's a big Bucks guy. But at the same time, you got to keep in mind, there is a 100% chance that this crew will be on another Tampa Bay game in the future, right? And when they are, and there's a 50-50 call and it goes the direction of the Buccaneers, you better believe that some fan base somewhere is going to go, wait a minute. Mike won that call after Mike went out of his way to give these guys autographs at an NFL game in the tunnel. If you just wait till you're in street clothes. Nobody knows who you are. Wait till you're in street clothes and get that autograph, and then it's not a big deal anymore, right? It's not a big deal anymore. But you did it in the tunnel, in your gear, and the next time you're on a Tampa game, you are going to be justifiably so accused of being partial to the guy who signed those autographs for you that you were looking for. I still don't understand autographs. Like, I'll get one if that's the only option. I'd much rather have a picture, right? But if I'm raffling something off for charity, I know autographs still get big money. I would do that instead. All right, let's take a break. Come back here in just a minute. Third hour of the show. It's going to be busy. Got a lot of stuff to get to. Another round of faces and heels on a Tuesday and more on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Oh. Yo, I am hurting today.
For a moment there, I thought you were wearing sweats that look like jeans.
Jeggings.
You've ever been?
No,
I've seen them on TV, but I've never.
Oh, they're real.
Where would you buy those at?
I think you have to get them online.
Okay, because I don't want to buy any. I'm just curious.
I want to say I've seen them in like a TJ Ross or a Marshalls or something like that before.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Now every time I hear Zappy, I'm going to think of Stacy's mom. So you saw it, right? I sent that to you. How can you not sing along to that song?
Sounds away, man. My band plays that song, and it's a banger every time.
When you got it going on, you got it going on.
All I want, and I've waited for so long. Stacy, can't you see? You're just not the girl for me. I know it might be wrong, but I'm in love with Stacy's. That's a fun little song to play too.
You know, Zapke really wanted to get into it though. When you can't help yourself and you're mouthing it,
Oh, for sure.
that dude cranks that in whatever expensive vehicle he's driving. I don't have that on my Spotify. I do have the version that Diesel told us about of Jason's mom, which is still pretty fun.
Is Stacy's mom on Zach Wilson's playlist? Or is it a little too on the nose?
Probably.
ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience.
That might be what he plays on his way to visit Stacy's mom, possibly.
So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Stacy's mom's friend has got it going on.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com.
Nice. Bobby Boucher jersey.
Paying too much for things we need, right? Hey, it's Don with American-made windows, and we're changing that. Thanks to our American suppliers, you can choose your windows now, and we'll install them in less than a month. 1 month. And right now, qualified.
Rob's more of a Coach Red fan.
That's no payment for a full year. Visit bmwupstate.com.
He only half listens to me, so I have a lot of fun with that.
And they're going but dogs.
See, that's funny. Cameron yesterday we're trying to figure out what songs we put on the karaoke special, and I forgot that it was Christopher Walken and Ed Orgeron singing "Walking in a Wonderland."
That's solid.
And the funny part is, Chris still had no idea who he was singing with, since he's not a sports fan. You could tell. I mean, eventually he started working it in when he realized that you were actually a coach.
They're going LSU. Go Tigers. Walking in a winter wonderland. Walk into a winter wonderland.
Do you even remember?
What about $22 million in my pocket?
Do you even remember doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I have forgotten. I've done so many. I'm trying to remember what all we did. I know I was disappointed in the Goofy Cartman song, so I got to come up with something. But it was hard to top "Baby It's Cold Outside." I mean, you just can't top that. You are invited and encouraged, obviously, again this year. If it's
for sure.
Still secretly holding out hope that the horn section could happen, just for the nightmare that it would cause engineering. But
Hey, Chris, can you find a way to plug my trombone into the board? I've got a couple of Saturdays in November that I can set a night for us to play again. I'm going to put those in the group message after the show today.
okay.
See which one's better.
Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Remember when you were told bigger is better? Well, that's just simply not the case.
Just going to have to look through and find something that's very uncomfortable. Actually, I had an idea for Goofy Cartman on the way to work. I've already forgotten it. I got to dictate or something so I can remember those things.
Oh. Breaking stuff.
Like that's unusual.
The third, the final, the best. I can't do it today.
You wanted to, though.
I tried.
The intent was there. It's going to be a good hour, everyone.
The third, the final, the best. The money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now.
Wow, that was Zach Wilson creepy.
Zach's mom's friend has got it going on. The Zach Wilson playlist won't die. I don't want it to. Why would I? Welcome back, y'all. The final hour of the Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is.
That reminds me, I got to go and turn the yacht rock back on in the bathroom after we're done with the show.
Is it weird?
No one changes that channel. I just want to point that
channel.
out. You put that on, they don't change it.
Is it weird that when I go to the restroom during the show, I turn on our show?
No, I like that. I do the same thing usually, except for when the show's almost over. I go ahead and get the yacht rock going because,
The lady friend found out that is my MO, right? During the show, if we're on the air and I go into the restroom, we've got an Alexa in there, and I go, Alexa, play 97.1 The Fan Upstate. And she does. And so I had told the lady friend at one point a couple of weeks back that there are Alexa wars going on in the building, right? Like everybody goes in there and changes it to something different. Well, Lonzo and I.
No. They all change it to their stations.
Right.
Although I've got a couple other people having fun with it too.
Yeah.
And don't tell Diesel because he still doesn't get it.
Yeah. We go in, and if it's after the show, we're like, hey, Alexa, play polka music on repeat. And the best part is after you tell her to do that, to push the lock button to ignore voices. So if people go in there to do their business and they're stuck listening to polka music, they can't do anything about it.
Oh,
right?
The best part is if you know someone's in there and you do it and let them know that you're doing it, and you push that button and they can't change it till they're done with the business.
So I told her about these wars, and she goes, what do you play? Like, what station do you put it on to annoy your coworkers? And I said, well, if I'm not on the air, and she's like, what do you do when you're on the air? I play me. She's like, so let me get this right. You go in the bathroom, you put on your own show, you listen to your own show while you are doing your own business in the bathroom. I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I? It's a listener, right? Every download counts.
You're so vain.
And that's basically what she said. She's like, you don't find it weird that you're in the bathroom doing your thing.
All right. So you had the obvious reason because you want to know when the commercials are almost over to make sure you get back in time.
No, that's not it. I just like to hear what I hear it sound like on the radio. Not like, wow, I sound great, but like, okay, how did I end that last segment? Was it because the Alexa's on about a 35, 40-second delay?
He's in there in the mirror going, sexy me, looking at sexy me, listening to sexy me.
If you hear me start ending segments like, coming up next on the Rob Brown Show. Now you know why. That's not true. That's a joke. I'm joking. Relax. I'm not that weird.
He's not joking.
So anyway, that's that. If you wonder what goes on at a radio station, that's pretty much it. We all listen to ourselves while we go to the restroom.
We also prank everybody. That's what you do. And yes, I agree, James. He does have hill tendencies. He does. But he owns it. So, I mean,
Correct.
You can't wear a shirt like that and not be a heel.
Texter said, Rob, did Captain America Chris Evans down the hall ask about how the Pelicans are doing recently? Why? Is it because my best player, Zion Williamson, is out with a hip contusion?
Wait. He's out already?
And my second best player, Brandon Ingram, is in concussion protocols, and both are likely unavailable tonight.
Wait a minute. Did Zion land on his head? Is that why he hurt his hip and hurt his head?
Fortunately, it was different injuries, or else I absolutely would blame Captain America Chris Evans down the hall. No, Z went down. He rejected a dunk on one end, went down, got his own dunk rejected on the other end, came down on his hip and got a hip contusion. Brandon had another cat knock him down. He landed on the noggin, said he was fine, checked back into the game, played about 45 seconds, and then tapped out and walked straight to the locker room. That would be the same Pelicans team that on opening night went up to Brooklyn
and beat the Nets by 25. Beat the hell out of Kevin, Kyrie, and the Nets. And then we made it 2 games. Had a good run. I'll never forget the glory days of Pelicans basketball when we beat the Nets to go 2-0 to start the year before everybody started racking up the injuries again. Thanks for checking, Texter. Appreciate that very much. I really do. All right. Let's get a couple more things in here before we roll on to faces and heels coming up. James Franklin, after Penn State went to Michigan. Hey, what happened in that game, Lonzo? Do you recall?
Utter destruction.
Yeah, Penn State got the hell beat out of them. James Franklin was not happy. He said that there is a problem at Michigan. He said the tunnel has a problem at Michigan because both teams enter and exit from the same tunnel. And he said that there was some interaction between the two teams in that tunnel.
It's an ancient stadium, so it's no surprise there.
Yeah. Franklin said, all there has to be is a 2-minute or a minute buffer in between the two teams. We're not the first team that's had issues like that. To me, under the current structure, we won't be the last. Well, Jim Harbaugh took exception to that. He said, quote, like you saw, pretty clearly the Penn State players completely stopped. They weren't letting us get up the tunnel, and it just seemed like such a sophomoric ploy to try to keep us out of our locker room. And Franklin looked like he was the ringleader of the whole thing, end quote. James Franklin says, you got a problem when you stick both teams into the same tunnel at the same time to go to the locker room, especially at halftime or maybe worse, at the end of a heated game like Penn State, Michigan. Harbaugh comes out and accuses Franklin of doing it himself. Like he held up his team to give them a reason to go with Michigan. I love that. I love that. This is the dumbest foundation to start a rivalry on, and you better believe that I want all the Michigan v. Penn State smoke now. Can't wait. Can't wait for that. Speaking of coaches getting into it, Lonzo, this seems like one of those stories that if it's your school, it means the world, and if it's anybody else's school, it's dumb as hell. Texas football coach Steve Sarkisian, in his Monday press conference yesterday, had to or wanted to apologize to Texas fans after Texas lost to Oklahoma State. Not because they lost to Oklahoma State. He had to apologize because after the loss to Oklahoma State, he and most of his players did not go stand in front of the band and sing "The Eyes of Texas," as is the postgame tradition. They took the L and they went straight to the locker room.
Why would you sing after you lose? You do that after you win, right? Isn't that usually how they go? I
would say yes, with the exception maybe being like the schools that sing their alma mater on the way after school or off the field, right?
Yeah, but why do that after you lost? How are you representing your alma mater? You just lost. You don't go over and sing that afterwards.
I get with the alma mater. Singing the alma mater after now, I get the...
Hey, we're losers, but we still love our school. Yes.
No, I think it is more, we rep you thick and thin. And this is thin. This is bad, but we still rep the school. We're still proud to be a Tiger, Bulldog, Longhorn, Aggie, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
I know. That's because if anybody takes an L, it's inexcusable in your book.
No, if you lose, you go off the field. You didn't represent the team in the way that you want to represent them. Why would you go sing?
Because you're not going to win every game.
Well, when you do win, you sing. Right. When you don't have the privilege to sing because you didn't represent the school the way you should have. Get off the field, loser. Come over and sing when you win.
Well, that's strong. I don't mind like the alma mater, right? Like I represent the school even when things don't go our way. Sometimes you're going to lose football games. That's why we play the game. I get the alma mater. But
Is the eyes of Texas really something that the fans are calling their coach to the carpet on? Shouldn't you be more? In this case, I will go Team Zoe. If you're in that presser, if you're a fan getting on social media, are you really calling out the fact that he didn't sing the eyes of Texas and not calling out on, I don't know, losing to Oklahoma State, a team you should have beat? Really? Like, you're more upset that he didn't walk over and sing a song that's frankly not a good song anyway?
I say you walk over and say you're sorry, and then you walk off the field. And we'll be back to sing next week when we actually win.
Sark said, I owe an apology to Longhorn Nation. I made a mistake at the end of the game in not singing the eyes of Texas when the game was done. That was not anything that was intentional. That was not anything that had to do with our players. I think our players just followed me up the ramp into the locker room, obviously upset by the way the game ended, and literally walked off the field. I apologize to everybody for that. That'll never happen again. Again, it was not intentional. It was not premeditated by any premeditated. It's not a murder, Sark. You didn't sing a dumb song after eating an L you hated.
I just want to point out I missed the glass today. You got me a little bit there. I'll tell you later that you don't get me at all today. The thing is, I just don't understand who's upset with him over this. So the fans are upset that he didn't come over and sing, or did he just do this on his own? Or did the president of Texas say, you did not sing the alma mater? I chastise you and you should apologize. Here is a written apology. Read this.
The message boards were a buzz of Longhorn fans because
message boards are always going nuts, no matter what.
They feel that Sark directly disrespected one of their great traditions. And if we are going to have the NFL v. college football discussion, to me, it begins and ends with traditions, right? Other than that, it's just football, but it begins and ends with traditions, especially at the individual schools where there are these long traditions. And singing the eyes of Texas after a game as a team, arm in arm, metaphorically speaking, with the fans, is one of the more strong and beloved traditions at the University of Texas. And they felt like it was an insult, a slap in the face, that you took the L harder than you take the traditions seriously at UT.
All right, so I know this guy who talks about Texas A&M and says they're cultic in all the stuff that they do. And how is this not the same thing? I'm just curious how this is not the same thing, that he has to apologize for not singing the alma mater. How's this different?
Like I said, for the record,
this is a guy who was a friend. I don't know. I don't know if it continues or not.
I think it's dumb. All right. Like I said, if you hit the message boards and the most offended you were by that game was that Sark didn't sing the eyes of Texas with you instead of, hey, we just got our asses kicked by a team we have always dominated year after year, then we just don't see eye to eye as football fans, right? We just don't see eye to eye as football fans. We're not on the same page. If he does, whatever, right? Like if they take that L and Sark and the boys walk over to the corner of the stadium and sing the eyes of Texas, I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, why are you singing when you took a loss? I'll let Zoe handle that. I don't care. I get it. It's a tradition. But I'm also not mad about the opposite either, right? I'm not mad about the fact that he skipped out on a tradition that, and granted, college football traditions are only important to that college. Nobody that doesn't wear burnt orange cares. We all think it's dumb unless you're a Longhorn. Just like the Aggies think their cultish yell leaders are the coolest thing in college football. They're not. They're not. They're dumb. They're tacky. They're stupid.
but they're your thing. It's a weird thing to want to claim as your thing, but it's your thing, right? Some of y'all over in Columbia got to experience that when they did their yell practice / cult meeting out front of the State House in the Cola last Friday night. By the way, did any of y'all happen to stumble upon the cult meeting? If you survived and got out alive, please call and tell me about it.
Is this a dangerous thing?
No,
Okay.
it's a pep rally is what
All
it
right,
is.
So
They call it yell practice. Oh, you know what I've never told real quick. One of my very dear friends, Brad Klinger, a number of years ago got married to a young lady who graduated from Texas A&M. I was in their wedding. And as happens when you get the boys together, we got to talking about college football. Brad's a big Florida Gator fan, right? Has been. We have been going back and forth for years. He's a big Florida guy. So he marries an Aggie. And at the wedding, every now and then, a dude would stand up in the front. And I had never experienced the Aggies before this. This is like 10 years ago. I never experienced the Aggies like this. One of the dudes would get up in front of the crowd, made up half of Aggies, and he would do one of their little weird yell chants that they do. And the crowd started going crazy.
You do that at one of my family's weddings, you might not make it out of there.
Yeah, you shouldn't. So they start doing their little weird yell chant motion things they do. And there's a few of us sitting at the table with Brad and his wife, and the Aggies all lose their mind. And one of the guys asks, he's like, what is happening here? And Brad goes, that's one of her friends. He was a yell leader at A&M. And the dude goes, oh, so like a cheerleader. And he goes, it's a yell leader. We're like, so a dude cheerleader. It's not a cheerleader. It's a yell leader. They're not cheers. They're yells. And there's another guy at the table who also went to A&M with her, right? And he's like, yeah, no. They're yells. We're like, what do you mean they're yells? They're cheers, right? Like every team has cheers, right? Like 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Go team. They're cheers, right? He goes, no, they're not cheers. They're yells. And he was visibly upset. It would not end the conversation until we recognize them as yells, not cheers. That's how dedicated they are to this weird stuff. Did any of y'all stumble across the yell practice in the Cola last Friday night? I'm very curious. I bumped into one when I was covering LSU football a number of years ago. I think it was the Aggies either first or second year in the SEC, and I got sent by then Sporting News Radio to go cover it. And they're like, we want you to hit up the yell practice and experience it. And I went. And in about 15 minutes, I was like, I need a disguise and a passport to get away from these people. It was weird, dude. It's just weird. Anyway, the point is, your traditions matter to you. Nobody outside of A&M is going to call it a yell, not a cheer. It's a cheer. You have male cheerleaders, not yell leaders. All right? This is what they are. But to you, it's the world. To you, it's all that matters. Because that's what makes college football as great as it is. But if you were up in arms about Sark not singing the Eyes of Texas more than you were up in arms about A&M kicking your rear end up and down the field, we're just different football fans. We're just different fans. Texas said, are you just now realizing that Texas is full of Colts? Waco? ? No, I just didn't know that they were disguised as college football fans.
They have to originate somewhere.
I guess. Texas said, fan, is Sarkisian on the hot seat? Nah, not yet. But
misses singing that song a couple more times.
he might genuinely, seriously might be. I'm not kidding when I say that.
That's just weird.
If somebody insults your tradition, I can't think of any. I'm sure. Oh, the dotting of the I, right? That's a big thing for the Buckeyes. What if Ryan Day had come out and was like, hey, we don't want you guys dotting the I anymore because it's too big of a distraction before a game. You'd be like, yeah, no, coach, that's our thing. That's what we do. For all of us, It's a tuba player running onto the field.
Yeah, but you're talking about before the game. You're not talking about after the game. We're talking about after the game traditions. Before the game, you're not disrupting anything. The fact he didn't go over there and sing after he lost, he shouldn't. He lost.
Lonzo, the analogy destroyer. The point is, that tradition matters to you, right? It's a big deal to you if you're a Buckeye. That's your thing, dotting the I. Maybe not you particularly.
Winning the game matters to me.
You, the Royal Buckeye, the dotting of the I is a moment. It's a thing. It's your thing. To everybody else, it's a fat tuba player running across the field to a certain spot and nothing more, right? But to Ohio State fans, it's your thing.
All right, I beg to differ that the tuba player is fat, because I looked the last time, it was not fat. So you're implying that all tuba players are fat. If they're fat, they can't fit in the tuba.
I'm just making it up as I go. Okay. All right.
I just be quiet over here.
Tuba players aren't fat anymore. Those things are heavy, and you have to march as a tuba player.
Were they ever fat though?
Oh yeah.
Were they?
Oh yeah.
Maybe in like a polka band.
If
but
you were at Choctawhatchee High School in 2020, or excuse me, in 2002, and you were pushing 200 pounds, you were a tuba player. That's just what you did. And I only know that because a very dear friend of mine, Josh Harrison, nice guy, big boy, had his whole life wanted to be a drummer. The drum line is where the chicks are at. If you're in the marching band, right? You're on the drum line, you get the gals. All he wanted to do was be a drummer.
Wait. So you're saying marching band people?
Other marching band chicks.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the clarification.
The snare drummers get all of the flute player chicks, right? He wanted to be a drummer. He showed up, and the band director was like, grab that tuba, chief. Josh was like, nah, I play drums. He's like, not in my band, you don't. Grab that tuba, big boy. You're a tuba guy now. And Josh rocked the hell out of that tuba for 4 years. All right, let's take a break. I did not mean for the segment to turn into a breakdown of tuba players circa 2002. But it did. It happens. What are you going to do? Welcome to the show. Faces and Heels, Lonzo's favorite segment when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
I hope all the tuba players who are not portly show up outside the door and want to have words with you. Local sports radio host
put in
hospital after being beaten repeatedly with
7 tubas.
There are 7 tubas hitting him. The 8th one's just out there playing the whole time. And they're hitting you with the tubas to the cadence of the one guy playing the tuba.
The eyes of Texas are pop. Ooh, got the friendly bounce today. Little home cooking on the rim today. Can he go 3 for 3? Yes. Where's Gus Johnson when you need him?
By the way, I want everyone to know that's listening, that is not a bit for me. I don't understand why you're singing after you lose. I think you've lost your privilege by losing the game. You can win it back the next game if you win the game.
You lost your privilege to sing.
Yes, you've lost your privilege to sing. You did not represent the school in a way that you should have. I just don't recall ever seeing a fat tuba player because they kind of fit inside the. It just no. Bill Murray was trending. I'm not going to use that because, Rob probably doesn't know why he was trending.
Do it's not for great reasons, if I recall correctly.
No, he was trending for a great reason.
Oh, really?
For something that was trending yesterday. The trailer's out.
Oh, that's right. I didn't watch it.
And he's in it. The trailer is excellent, by the way. You should watch it on a big screen, though. Hey, there's a girls 18 online. You might want to block that.
There was a video.
By the way, I don't think that has anything to do with my age. If you would have asked me at 15, I would have said the same thing.
There was a video a couple of years ago of a march of white supremacists somewhere and a tuba player walking behind them as they were walking down the street going, ba-da-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It was hilarious.
And they didn't beat the guy up?
What are you doing? You're marching. I mean, it's part of the game. Go to jail over it. Good luck.
I don't know. The bots left. So, no, that's just, yeah. They were here for a while. Just to make other people jealous. We want bots too. Can't beat that. Yes. By the way, Josh, I'm pretty sure that's not how you spell curmudgeon. But I can't. No, you actually maybe. I don't know. I've never had to spell it. I don't know any. I thought it was curmudgeons. Is it curmudgeon? I guess it could be curmudgeon. You spelled it curmudgeon. I'm not picking on your spelling. It's just how many times you get a chance to spell something like that.
Everything you love listening to on Audible. From memoirs and true crime to celebrities and sci-fi. Audible is the home of storytelling, audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
Have you ever spelled anything so bad, Josh, that autocorrect is just like, nah, man, I just can't. I've done that before.
Time for Lonzo's favorite segment of the week. It is time for Faces and Heels, where we take a look at some socially ambiguous situations and try to figure out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, who's the face, and who's the heel. I got a couple of good ones. The last couple of weeks, we've kind of hit on some that have been a little easier than I anticipated them to be. I think I got some ones that might have some contention to them today. Here's one.
I don't know. We've been so agreeable this entire day. We're going to be right there on this. I can tell.
All right. There is a young woman. They just found out that she's pregnant. So she's like 15 weeks in. I don't know how that works, but they just found out. She's early in her pregnancy. They just found out. She said, last month, my husband took me downtown to my favorite chocolate store. and I racked up on a bunch of chocolate, right? I've been craving chocolate. I wanted chocolate. We got a bunch of chocolate. We brought it back to the house. Well, she said we got a big basket of chocolate, all my favorite types, and we put them into the snack cabinet. Says that my husband has been going through and eating the chocolate too, right? Says that I came home the other day. I wasn't feeling great. Took off my shoes, went to the snack cabinet, got out the chocolate basket, and my favorite flavor of chocolate was gone. She said, I ate about half the bag of that chocolate. He ate about half. There were other chocolates available in the bag, but the one I wanted, my favorite chocolate, there was no mas in the basket. So he came home and I said, go get me more of that chocolate. He was like, babe, I love you, but it's rush hour. I'm not going downtown just to pick up a single bag of chocolate. She's like, you ate my chocolate. You knew it was my favorite player. You ate it anyway. Go downtown and get me my favorite flavor of chocolate. I want it right now. He said no and refused. He said, I will get it tomorrow when it's not so crazy and hectic downtown. You got to go one night without your favorite chocolate. I'm not doing it. Says that they are now not talking over chocolate. Face and heel, Lonzo.
All right. First of all, this is obviously a 1%er argument. You got to go downtown and give me your chocolate. No, I'll go around the corner and get you a Hershey bar.
There's a QT right there.
Yeah. Why do I got to go downtown? So whoever bought the chocolate in the first place, I'm going to guess is him. He's the heel for buying fancy chocolate because he wasn't thinking clearly. Now he's got to buy that stinking fancy chocolate every time. But in the end, he's the heel because he refused to go in rush hour. This is just the beginning of her pregnancy. You're going to have very odd requests. You know, all those things you see on TV and movies, those are real. That's not made up stuff. They're going to ask, she's going to ask for something real. She's carrying your child. Get your butt out in rush hour traffic and go buy the chocolate. And this time, buy your own extra chocolate, have your own stash, put it on the side somewhere. Don't tell her where it is. You can eat your favorite chocolate and you won't be taking any of hers.
And now on the next episode of Rob Takes Down Pregnant Women, she's the heel. All right.
No way.
She's the heel.
You hate children. So of course you're going to
hate children. I don't want them, but I don't hate them. I love kids. I literally got into a fight with flat earthers yesterday because they were lying to kids' faces. All right. I like kids. I want the best for kids. I am the dude that is fine with paying more in a school tax. I don't even have kids. I'm happy to do it if the schools are going to be better for it, right? I like kids. But let's go with this. Couple of things. Number one, you bought the chocolate together. If you bought it together, it is fair to believe on his behalf, this is our chocolate. And the fact that you bought a basket of it, not like I would get it if she bought like 2 of her favorite candy bars and he ate them, but you bought a basket of chocolate.
Also, dude, it's Halloween, man. Just go to Walmart. There's like bags of the stuff.
No, listen, I get it. There's in fact, I'll even give them the free plug. Mike and Molly's. You ever had Mike and Molly's ice cream?
No, because I work in radio.
Okay. It's over in Cherrydale. It's my favorite ice cream joint.
It's out. That's way out of the way.
It's out of the way.
So I'd have to go. Like it would be like an hour from my house.
It's about a 15-minute drive from my house. And if the lady friend and I decide, like, you know what, we want ice cream, we will drive past 2 grocery stores to go to Molly and Mike's for their ice cream. I love their ice cream shop, and it's very dope. It's like a comic book themed ice cream store. It's very cool. I'm a big fan. We will drive past 2 grocery stores and an ice cream shop to get to Molly and Mike's to go get one of their, they got a delicious brownie and a delicious blondie, right? Big fan. I get it. I understand it, right? I get it and I understand it. If you've got a favorite chocolate, I'm down to go out of the way to get that. If I want fried chicken, I'm a Popeyes guy. I drive by 2 KFCs to get to the closest Popeyes because that's my favorite. It's what I want. I will go the distance for it. But if I went and got Popeyes and I brought home a bucket of Popeyes for me and the lady friend, and then I got to do another errand and she eats the whole bucket, yeah, I'm going to be mad.
But that's because we bought it together. It's a reasonable understanding that it is ours. I get that you're pregnant and it's your favorite chocolate. Dude, if she's 9 months pregnant, 8 months pregnant, I got a very different opinion on this, right?
Should I send an email to engineering about your mic stand dysfunction?
Yeah, this is...
It's mic stand dysfunction. I mean, there's something. Yeah, but it sounds like Godzilla every time you let it drop.
Wait.
So,
Oh, now it's not going to do it. Of course not. Whatever. Anyway, point is, if she's very pregnant, do go get her chocolate, right? But you just found out. I have met women in the past who have gotten pregnant, and then like one day there's nothing, and then they find out and the next day they're like, everything hurts and I'm dying. Go get me chocolate. And I get it. It's a lot on your body.
but you don't get it. That's the thing. You can.
You're right.
Us guys can say we get it, but we don't.
That is correct. I can sympathize, not empathize, because I can't be there, right? I understand that. But, dude, you were good enough a couple of days before that to go with him to get chocolate. Now not, right? Like, it was a shared communal basket of chocolate. Now, if she said, don't eat this bag, like, this is my bag, you can have everything else, but don't eat, that's one thing. But she didn't say that. She said they just got a big basket of chocolate and they both want bananas on it. That's an us problem, not a you problem.
All right, so tuba players and pregnant women going to be down at the door later.
I'm absolutely getting a letter after this. I'm getting an email after this. All right, there it went. You heard it that time. This is really annoying.
Oh, I hear it every time.
All right. Here we go. We've got a 18-year-old woman who was asked by her mother's husband, not her dad, but the stepdad, I guess, to pay her 15-year-old half-sister $60. Why? Because while they were all hanging out together...
Is this a Pickens County story?
I don't know the location. While they were all hanging out together...
Lower your seat, dude. If you lower your seat...
My posture's already bad enough. I'm just going to keep doing it. All right. While they were hanging out together... So it got to be about 3 a.m. Her and the younger sister were like, half sister, we're hanging out together, having a good time, laughing and joking. And the little sister fell asleep. So what did she do? Like every other 18-year-old kid ever, she decided, I'm going to draw on her face. I'm going to draw on her face. And just wrote some stuff across the face. Now, she does not specifically say what she put on her sister's face.
There weren't 3 6s involved or anything like that.
We don't know. She doesn't say that. All right. But I know that when I was in college and in a fraternity, if you fell asleep on the frat house couch and somebody had a marker, you were drawn around the body part that Matt Jones hates so much and wants to kick. Right. Anyway. Oh, she does. I'm sorry. End of the story. She said, I drew a smiley face on one cheek. I played a self game of tic-tac-toe on her forehead. And I drew a heart on the other cheek. That's what she claims she drew.
So she is now under the schisms tree.
Yeah. No phallic symbols, no bad words. Didn't write loser backwards across her forehead. A heart, a smiley face, and a self game of tic-tac-toe. The sister woke up the next day, walked downstairs. The mom said that your little sister was humiliated by the experience. And just like in real life, you need to pay her for pain and suffering, and demanded $60 for emotional damage and the amount of time that it took her to clean marker off of her face when she got up after she walked downstairs in front of the family that AM. The sister said, not only no, but hell no, I'm not giving her anything. And instead, Lonzo passive aggressively walked downstairs with $2 in dimes and nickels, slammed it on the breakfast table and said, here's your pain and suffering right here, and then left for the day.
All right. So that's not passive aggressive. That's aggressive.
Just straight aggressive.
It's just straight aggressive. There is a difference. I think people get confused by that. First of all, I didn't know what the going rate for face art was, or face painting. That seems a little bit. How they come? I mean, how they come up with the $60 today? Is that so? How much is that? What per drawing? Wow. I'm trying to think of who the actual heel is. The mom's the heel. The mom is the heel for demanding that she pay for that, which was probably beautiful artwork, and who knows, may have enhanced the face of the ugly sister. We don't know if she's pretty or not. She could have been ugly.
All right. I am absolutely going here that mom's the heel. You're absolutely correct.
Still, how you come up with 60?
And that's part of the reason why I could get
$20 per picture.
I could get there being like a silly little punishment. Like, all right, you had your joke, but it's your turn to do the dishes instead of her tonight, right? Like, I could get a little punishment, like, don't do that again. Like, haha, funny, but don't do it again. $60? Are you kidding me?
No, here's how this works. Don't go asleep.
You should.
Yeah.
Little sister just learned a very important
Yeah,
lesson.
don't go. Well, and you can repay someone when they go to sleep. Just wait till she goes to sleep.
All right. Let's go with one more. Lady says that her friend likes to throw parties and get-togethers, and she does them potluck style. She takes care of the main dish, but then she asks everybody invited to bring a little something, right? Well, she said, I noticed after the last couple of parties that she sends everybody an individual invite. And she asks the women to bring dishes, but doesn't ask the men to bring anything, right? She asked the women to bring dishes, but not the men to bring anything. She says that came to light during a conversation at the last one when the guys were like, oh, I would have brought something, but she didn't ask me to. I didn't know it was potluck. And every woman was there like, they put two and two together and realized she's asking the women to bring food, but not the men. They asked her about it. They're like, wait a minute. You asked all the women to bring dishes, but not the men. And she said, yeah, but that's because I trust you ladies to put together a good dish. I don't trust the guys to bring anything more than like salsa or cheese dip, right? I expect the dudes to show up with like crock pot meatballs, whereas you guys will actually put in some effort and try to make this thing happen. Well, they had another party the next week. She did the same thing. And the lady said, I did not bring a dish this time. She's like, I just consider myself one of the dudes. I didn't bring a dish. I showed up. She said, I didn't eat anything because I did think it was kind of unfair, but I didn't make a dish. The host was like, well, if you didn't bring anything, I don't know why you're here. Please leave, right? Like, if you're not going to be part of this party, please leave. Who's the face and who's the heel in this one?
The host is the heel. First of all, so in 2022, only the women can cook and not the guys.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's probably some dudes in there that could outcook some of them ladies. And there's a lot of stereotypes in there that she went with. And the one lady, if she showed up and she didn't eat.
Yeah.
So she didn't partake in anything that was. The host is a heel.
That's right.
That's
right.
I'm just
Now,
trying to picture what this party actually looks like.
Let me put it this way. You invite Rob Brown to a party and you're like, hey, it's potluck, bring something. She's probably right. I'm showing up with like crock pot meatballs, which by the way, mine are a jam.
No,
right?
man, I'm bringing beans.
Yeah, you're showing right.
In the can. I'm just gonna bring the can and just set it on there.
I brought 5 jars of salsa and 2 big Tostitos bags for everybody. Like, she's not wrong. The majority of my dude friends, that is what they would do. They would go to Wally World and they'd pick up one of those veggie trays with a ranch plastic dip in the middle.
Hey, no offense. I've been to a lot of potlucks around here, and bringing your own food might be a good idea. I'm just saying.
But you still don't phrase it that way. And even if you do, you still just ask everybody to bring something. And if the dudes show up with chips and salsa, oh, well, it is what it is, right? Like, what a terrible way to handle that. All right, last one. Texter says, face or heel. A producer tries to help a host do a better show by having him quit fidgeting, and the host keeps ignoring him. Listen, I can't do anything about my mic dropping. It's not supposed to do that.
You could, though. Have you noticed me ever touch my mic? I do it at the beginning of the show, and then I move my head around the mic. I don't move the mic itself.
Right, but here's the thing. I need it to be here.
Yeah, it would be like back in the beginning when you first started here. But now because you've manipulated it so many times, it's gotten droopy.
I need it right here. Okay, don't touch
They're
it.
not even talking about that. They're talking about the football.
Yeah, no. Let's take a break. Come back, wrap up the show.
I hope that was the boss.
James
I hope that was the boss that sent that text.
James said drunk college students are owed millions. All right, back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate.
No, we could just like swap arms.
Yeah, I might. Well, no, because then I got. Oh, I guess these are.
Yeah, here's what you do because you swap arms and then someone else ends up with that. Problems solved and made all at the same time. I'm guessing engineering would agree with
that solution.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
I also asked for a new chair. I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I'm not holding my breath.
Well, I love the answer you were given, which I'm not going to say on the air. You don't remember? He's only halfway in most conversation. He will snicker and nod, but he has no idea what's going on half the time.
Download the Odyssey app and search the Fan Upstate. Then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders, and that's your sports flash on the Fan Upstate.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville.
So I'm going to get my windshield replaced today, but I'm embarrassed because my car is so dirty. But I haven't washed it because the thing that in the car washes that come down, the buffing thing, I don't know what it's called. It's a big old buffing thing. I'm afraid the pressure of that would make the glass crack further. So should I be embarrassed about how dirty the car? Because the car is dirty. I mean, it's dirty like squirrels left nuts on the back of it and stuff. And so I'm embarrassed because my car is really dirty because I can't take it to the car wash because I'm worried about the windshield. No, I'm worried about the windshield cracking further. It doesn't get, well, anyway, so I'm going to get my windshield replaced today. Should I be embarrassed about how dirty it is? Will the people at the windshield place buy the fact that I haven't washed it because I didn't want the windshield to crack any further? Or should I care and should I say, hey man, just fix my windshield? I've never had a windshield replaced before, so. They do say you might need to get picked up because there may not be space for waiting. And I don't have anyone to pick me up, so I need to find out where this place is and find out if it's in a neighborhood where it will be okay for me to walk somewhere. There have been several reports that including TMZ, the NFL says 2 referees did not ask Mike Evans for an autograph after the Buccaneers game on Sunday. And you won't stop.
So you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks Vapor Rub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks Vapor Rub. Vicks Vapor Rub. Cough relieving is believing.
90% of golfers slice. And if you're one of them, there's only one reason why your club faces open relative to
Just got an email about chaptering.
Like we need to do it more?
to make sure that everyone's doing it, which I've been doing every day.
Yeah.
But it's not working today. I have video evidence of me saying several times that I can't do it because it's not working, and I even asked Rob to fix it. Rob refused to fix it, so it's Rob's fault that it's not working. I have video evidence. Rob could solve this easily. See, James gets it.
Always Rob's.
But it's beneath him, apparently.
Tons of clouds and sun. Metric tons.
Time for abbreviated Twitter trending topics where I tell Rob what's trending and he will tell us why it is indeed trending. The first thing that's trending is Henry Cavill.
I'm assuming it is because Henry Cavill has been shown in a particular place wearing a particular thing at a particular moment.
Yesterday, Henry Cavill put out a video thanking everyone for their patience and officially saying he's back.
All right, there you go. So we get more Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill's a fine Superman. Like, I think he does a good job.
He's the best Superman in my opinion.
I think he's done a really good job. I think it's not his fault. He's been stuck in some bad DC movies as Superman.
Not as bad as people say, but I get your opinion. All right, the next thing that's trending is Kanye West.
So Kanye's got a lot going on right now because Kanye said some things that have been taken by some people as relatively anti-Semitic, and I think that it's fair to call them that. But now there's blowback because a lot of companies have dropped Kanye as a sponsor / endorser. And then now there are calls to other companies to follow and do the same, including Adidas, which of course make his Yeezy footwear. Adidas has said they're investigating the situation.
No, Adidas is.
Oh, they did it?
Yeah,
they dropped him. So
did.
the Yeezys, that's no mas. Of course, while this is happening, you're starting to see people show up around Los Angeles where Yeezy lives, who are parroting his talk, and it's just bad for everybody. Somebody needs to talk to my guy. He's clearly got some issues up top and help him get straightened out.
All right, the last thing that's trending is the WhatsApp is trending.
You know, when we went down to the Dominican, everybody was like, "You got to get WhatsApp." I know that it is something. I just don't understand what it is. Like, I understand what it is, but I don't understand unless you're traveling abroad. What the point is? It just seems like a really easy way to keep text messages away from people you don't want reading them.
Well, yeah, I think that's what it is. It was down for 2 hours today, which means it probably got hacked.
Yeah. Like, I don't get WhatsApp, and I don't get Snapchat anymore. Maybe I'm just too old now. Like, the concept of Snapchat basically is, I want you to see this picture. Like, I get it if you're sending the nudes to other people.
Okay, how do you feel about TikTok?
Can't stand it. I don't get it. I get why. I get it in principle how it could be a cool thing, but I tried TikTok once because I'm like, okay, this thing's blowing up. Let me make some videos that could help the show in the station. And I get on it, and it's just a bunch of teenagers being dumb all the time. I don't get it. All right, that's it. I'm going to go yell at kids to get off my lawn now. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. Jim Rum's up next. Mark and Diesel at 3. Have a great day. See you back here tomorrow to do it better tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys very much for watching and hang out with us. We will see